Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Midweek Mixup. This week, we are honoured to have the Iron Lords grace us again with their presence, along with CJ Granell as well. First of all, we will start with our guests and introductions. So we will start with none other than one of the main leaders of the Iron Lords, none other than Lord Cognito. How are you doing today, brother? What you been up to?
Dutch, what's going on, brother? Back in the mix-up, man. The midweek mix-up. When she threw the bat signal up, I had to be there, man. We had a great time last time. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I saw the topics. I'm excited. We got good company here. Lord CJ's in the building. Archimedes, Shomberlon, Patcher, Lord PUBG himself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy, man. Good to be here, Dutch. Always a pleasure, brother.
Awesome stuff, brother. Awesome stuff. You're welcome. You're welcome. None other than joining him, his brother from another mother, Lord King himself. How you doing today?
What's going on, everybody? Glad everybody's here. You rocking that PUBG hat. Pretty proud, aren't you? Right? Yeah.
Of course.
Especially after the milestone they just hit with that billion downloads and both.
Wow.
That's crazy. They had to teach, Fortnite what to do. We out here too. We running too. But great to be here. Can't wait to dig into these topics and they're gonna get some work.
King's on a roll today. You will see. Next guest, of course, Chris Granell. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm very well, thank you. Good to be here with the panel, and obviously two legends. So I think we've got lots to talk about, and it's been a tasty couple of weeks, hasn't it? So I think it's going to be a hot show, that's for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. And of course, your favorite German YouTuber, Archie. Hey, brother.
What's up? It's a pleasure to be again on the show with the Lords, and of course always a pleasure with Chris. Can't wait a lot to talk about. Xbox is on fire lately. Come on, hey, there's barely a day going by without some big news. It's just so much fun right now to be a gamer. Yeah, and we have a great show aligned.
Yes, indeed. I have to agree with that. Really good time to be a gamer at the minute, especially with all the things moving in the right direction. So we can't complain. Next up, Shomberlon. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm good. Been a little bit busy with work, but everything's good. Trying to think what I've been playing this week.
I've been the only one that hasn't been playing shit because that's not being plugged in.
I suppose that's the problem when you're customizing the only console you have for it to play on. But,
it looks good. It looks good, though.
I mean, I could have played on the PlayStation.
Oh, but there's nothing to play. See,
they already started.
Okay, so check it out. His only console, his only Xbox console that he has, he's working on. He has an available PlayStation 5 to game. He's upset right now because he can't game. Why? There's nothing over there to game on.
Oh man, that's
amazing.
Right there.
Amazing. Don't worry, I feel the same way.
You have a little story King might appreciate. Where I live on the grounds of a high school. Which means I don't get to dictate the heating in my own house. It all runs through the high school. And we're in this awkward period where it's warm and then hot, warm and then cold, and the heating's gone off. I have no heating in my house. So it's a little bit chilly, a wee bit chilly, as we say up here. And it was getting it was irritating me. So I was, what was I playing? Outriders. I was playing Outriders. And I was like, I'm not having any of this. It's getting too cold. So I turned my PS4 Pro around, turned it on, loaded up God of War, and just let it sit there in the menu screen.
I'm done with
that. Literally, it started whirling up the fan. And it wasn't like roasting hot, but it kind of took the chill out the air a little bit around my legs.
If we continue down this road, the Lord and Mr. Lau will never come back to the show. So
all I see is everybody's standing around the PlayStation. Papa, is this going to heat us up? Yes. Put your hands closer. What's going on? Y'all out of the
Wow.
In minutes, the PlayStation needed the house, and everyone was happy. Everyone had treats.
I did buy a game today, actually.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, it was only cheap. You know, at the moment, you know, things are tight. You know, it's got to be a £2, £3 game. But does anyone remember who's old enough? Guardian Heroes for the Saturn.
Yes, of course.
Oh, yes.
Wait, you bought that for cheap?
Well, yeah, it's like £3, so about what, $4 or $5?
No, not over here.
Mm-hmm.
Not over here.
Oh, no. Over here, that game costs a lot of money.
No. I mean on the Xbox. I thought
you were talking about the
yeah.
original. I was about to say,
No.
hey, brother.
Original. Yeah.
I was thinking, if you go back to that store, right? go buy everything that they got and go right back to eBay and post.
Yeah, no. my mom, she sold a mint condition Secret of Mana SNES cartridge.
What?
In box for I think it was like £250.
Yeah.
That was quite a few years ago as well.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I would have held on to it just for a little bit more. Right before Nintendo's about to do part 2. And then all these guys start to get crazy. And them and Square link up and do a part 2 Secret of Mana 2. That'd be nice.
And before we get into the actual topics, let's introduce the last of our panel members, of course. None other than Patcher, the PUBG King. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing actually pretty better. Been home since Monday. Didn't feel so good. Had some problems with my diabetes. So,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, man. And I wanted to do a corona test today, but I need to wait till tomorrow. So, just to be sure, you know, like everything is okay. So, but actually, further, I'm good. So,
have you ever taken one before?
I did 2 tests already.
Oh, okay.
My girlfriend was begin this year. She tested positive.
Mm-hmm. she cut off his mic. She's like, what are you telling my business for? She was standing right there. She said, if you say it, I swear to God, I'm going to pull his plug. I swear to God, I'm going to pull his plug.
He's back. Go punch his back.
He looked
Oh my
He's like, yo,
God. I hate this.
He wasn't having it.
Comes back with a stake on his eye, holding it there.
he like, whoa, like I was saying, COVID is bad and we should not, you know.
And my girlfriend's awesome, completely awesome.
She's a very nice lady, and she tested
It's the
negative.
Wi-Fi, man. It's the Wi-Fi. It's giving a hard time, but
I know it's the wife. It's the wife.
It's all good. It's all good now. So yeah.
Now, once they gave me that one, and I had to do this stupid test twice, where they shoved that Q-tip all the way to the back of your brain, and when they tickle your skull, I said, first of all, madam, that is too long to be going into my head. My nose is not that long. Second, you're having her smile in her face like I'm about to break this big dude. I said, I'm not above knocking you out.
You're getting used to it. I have to take a test now once a week, every Monday.
I gotta quit.
Before we go into the office, we have to take all the tests. And we are allowed to do a second test on Friday, so before the weekend, that we don't carry anything from work to whatever you do at the weekend. So
they're paying your ENT repair surgeries, right?
I have not asked that.
Either your nose is being very accepting.
The first couple of times were horrible, but you're getting used to it, actually.
Yeah. Oh, no mind. Let's go.
I had my first vaccination last week, so hopefully I never have to take one.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. No.
I became an uncle 2 days ago. My brother.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so my wife and I, we are going to take on Friday a test because we want to visit him on Saturday, and just to be sure.
You just tested. Stop with the testing. You get tested on Monday and Friday. You come in with your cards. Listen, I'm clean. Give me the. I'm cleaner than everybody here. You cleaner than the doctors.
Maybe he just likes it.
And this is what I'm thinking. He's going into the doctor.
The numbers are
saying,
going
"Lube me up,
crazy
lube."
around here. Yeah.
He going in with Vaseline already around the tip. Let's go.
Oh my God. Moving on.
Okay, we gotta move on now.
In the wise words of the Lord, time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
We'll get into the first of the big topics this evening. Then we're talking about the rumored acquisition of Microsoft taking over Discord. It's a bit of a strange one. It has relatively come out of the blue, but obviously we're just going to kind of have our thoughts on what that could mean for Discord, what that could mean for Microsoft, and what they plan to do with some of their programs that are in the similar field, and what it might mean really for kind of gaming communication space, because Discord is one of the largest kind of areas for all people to communicate in and out of games across PC and fingers crossed console in the future. So we'll start this kind of discussion. We'll start with our German friend here. Archie, what's your thoughts on
my first thought was, how can a chat app be way more expensive than ZeniMax and Bethesda? $10 billion for Discord. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great service. They basically revolutionized the way how gamers communicate, especially in the PC space, where you didn't have that Xbox Live or PlayStation Network that you can use for party chat. And now it even became on consoles a standard. I don't know anyone who doesn't use Discord, to be honest, to some degree. Yeah, this guy.
Discord.
But so yeah, it's big, it's huge. I wonder why Microsoft didn't innovate on Skype when they bought that and used or extended on that one. But it would make sense. I'm just confused about the price. It seems so high. $10 billion for that for Discord. I don't know. I personally prefer they would invest that money in another big publisher and get Square Enix or something like that. But it is what it is. I don't think it's just for the Xbox consoles. It's more for the entire ecosystem to connect PC gamers with your phone users and your smart TV and your smart refrigerator users that we will have very soon, because the Xbox is spreading so widely in their ecosystem, and you have to have something to connect them together, and Discord is perfect for that. So yeah, it makes sense. I'm just a little bit confused about the price.
Yeah, it seems a bit off the wall. 10 billion. I don't understand why it would cost that much. I mean, I don't know whether or not the technology behind it kind of justifies 10 billion, or whether or not it's just the data and the user base that they get behind that as well, where they have to pay for kind of the entire user base they've encompassed, which is obviously all encompassing PC. It's a lot of users.
It could be other people were eyeing it up as well. So, you've got all these other people going 1 billion, 2 billion, 2.5, and Microsoft goes 10 billion.
But it has like 140 million users monthly. So
I think it's more of a business thing rather than purely for gaming. It's to do with their business side, I reckon, because it's Microsoft that bought it rather than Xbox, isn't it?
Well, Xbox doesn't buy anything. So,
but you know what I mean. That's I mean,
the fact of the matter is this, right? And I know this is a little bit controversial, what I'm going to say. I believe that the Xbox brand will be absorbed into Microsoft at some point in time, because they're going to build themselves to a peak. And the Microsoft brand is larger than the Xbox brand as far as global reach. And we're seeing that with the transition from Xbox Live to Microsoft Network, right? And it's now it's business attire. This it's not sweatpants and sneakers anymore, right? They're trying to get a different type of bag, right? So the only avenue that they do have opposed to other companies is the business arm of Microsoft is very, very strong. So 400 million people that's going inside Discord. That's a huge bag. Now, Discord doesn't just facilitate chat. They also have different avenues to do different things with PC gamers. PC gamers is the largest market that Microsoft can get at directly, quickly, without having any issue. How do you do that? You can get Discord and you're already linked into damn near every PC in the world, right? So $10 billion is about right for that type of access. It's like paying to get inside the club. If you have all these people that come to this club, and this is the best club in all the world, Microsoft has the money to buy said club and have access to every individual in that club. Not just building a brand of Xbox, you literally have access to everybody that uses a PC and has some form of interaction with each other, right? And I was forced to, and this is why I don't use Discord. He's smiling like hell over here.
This is fun.
All right. So in our infancy, they first made me get Twitter. This is the only way that we talk. I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm on Twitter. All right. We use Messenger. This is the only way we talk. Okay, I got it. I got Messenger. Okay, we got Discord now. This is the only way we talk. I said, listen. You told me this is the only way we talk with the other two things. I'm not doing this thing no more. But I had to get it. I had to be in tune because a lot of people do their shows through Discord.
Yeah.
That is... Could you imagine you doing your show and at the bottom it's a Sony PlayStation podcast, and at the bottom of it, brought to you by Microsoft. literally, that is priceless. You know, priceless.
They got to pay for the watermark to come off. That's what they got to do.
You understand? If you want access to this streaming service without the watermark, send an extra $15 to Microsoft. and if you don't, and some dudes are gonna be like, well, whatever, I'm not spending 15. You know, TCL dudes gonna be like, I'm not spending $15. I'm not spending. I've been using this, and they're gonna put that there, but I'm not spending $15. I'm gonna keep that there. So yeah, Microsoft can get off on this. This is a good thing. But I'm gonna keep the same energy. I think people want, like Archimedes said, I want you to buy a developer. And that stuff is coming, brother. And you know it's coming. I'm pretty sure you get coming to some of the same DMs that I get.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So that stuff is coming. But this is the business arm of Microsoft flexing an incredible amount of muscle, right? Because the narrative is $7 billion that they spent on ZeniMax. And you're like, yeah, that's $7 billion is crazy. People was wilding. That's $7 billion. All right, $10 billion on Discord. What? I thought there was a chat nap. Yeah, so
it is a business technology acquisition. So there's a couple of angles I've got with this. Is that, you know, as Patrick was saying before, you know, there's 150 plus million active users. So you've got, you know, you're straight into it. Active user base. There's 300 million registered users. So can you reactivate some of those users? So you've got access to that kind of data. Then you think about the technology side. So I'm pretty sure Discord's powered by Google in the technology side. So first thing Microsoft are going to do is go, that's on Azure, boom, straight over to Azure. And then the Azure side of the business is then, you know, they'll still put through the business. So it's you know, it's making money, it's, you know, charging for its hosting and so on and so forth. So you've just taken a massive, you know, customer away from Google. Boom, straight over. And then, I mean, you've got Nitro, which is obviously where Discord makes all its money. I think Nitro used to give away games, but then they stopped doing that. For me, and this is the kind of like gamer in me, you know, as you were saying before, Lord, you know, they're getting access to a user base on PC. So if you want to hit a user base on PC, which is, you know, similar, bigger, you know, what you call it. So you're going to have to look at something like Steam. You're going to have to look at something like Epic Store, you know. So Discord's actually an easier way in for them. Then if you start thinking of, actually, well, does Discord Nitro start to come with xCloud? Does it start to come with Game Pass elements and so on and so forth? So it's a Microsoft business acquisition. And I think Archimedes, I wouldn't worry about acquisition of more studios and stuff. These guys, print this amount of money every year.
I know.
In a quarter.
Facts. They will absolutely soak that up. They will move stuff over to Azure. They'll have access to a user base. They start to move Game Pass PC or xCloud into that area, and then you've then got the technology. You've got crystal clear audio and all of this other stuff. So it's a huge, as Lord said, it's the business suit. Big business arm of the business, flexing into muscle and saying, we're gonna have some of that because we're gonna access users, and it's a phenomenal amount of users, and if they just do some clever stuff with Xbox and Game Pass, you just switch on that market.
The only thing that concerns me with Xbox and integrating things into, or Discord, for instance, integrating it into Xbox is that they still haven't. I mean, we used to have Twitch integrated into Xbox, and then they took Mixer, then they had Mixer, and then they decided Mixer was dead, so that stopped. And now we have no integration of any streaming apps. We've just got to go onto an app, which is a pain in itself. Just go onto an app, open that app, make sure it's launched, go back to the game, go onto that game, make sure it's okay. If you close the game, streaming stops.
Right.
The integration is rubbish. So if they need to get the integration, if they do integrate Discord into that to have a better party chat with crystal clear audio and things like that Discord provides, they need to work on the integration of these apps at a far better ground level than they have so far, because Discord could provide much better party apps cross-platform, not even just Xbox PC, but Xbox PC mobile and crystal clear audio,
I think so.
auto mute and everything like that.
And there could be,
oh, by the way, I love your headset. I love that. Flexing really hard.
Make sure you keep up with your sub, otherwise it gets bricked.
Well, listen, I think a lot of people, that what you said right there with the people being afraid of, keeping up with their subs, that level of uncertainty, especially around now, that's the only underlining thing when it comes to a Game Pass or a Microsoft service. When people purchasing into these service type of things, what if I can't pay this month? Then you can't play. So you got to work harder and make sure that you're ready for when that bill shows up. You understand? Mine is on automatic payment. Sometimes if I can pay throughout the year, I pay for the year ahead of time. And it's all about, being a productive member of society. That's all. Just make sure that you have your priorities, and I'm not telling you don't eat. But make sure that you eat, and if you work hard enough, in my opinion, and this is just an opinion, then you should have a couple of scraps put to the side, $20 here or there that you can able to pay for your services.
Lord Chris was gonna jump in. I was gonna jump in after. I think you're gonna say something.
I was just going to add to what Dutch was saying, and just said there could be, from a business owner perspective, sometimes you have to kind of work with tech partners and so on and so forth, and you'll have like really good tech partners, and you'll have ones who want to do stuff, but they haven't got the kind of manpower or the ability to do that. And this Discord thing, it could well be Microsoft want to kind of integrate in a certain way, or there's something that they're not quite getting. So sometimes these companies say, actually, what we'll do is we're just going to acquire you, and then we'll stick our tech guys on there. Azure might fix this, so might fix that. So I would hope that it wouldn't go down the route of some of the other kind of failed products that they've had. But it's I think they've kind of learned the lesson on some of those things, to be honest. And I think we're seeing a very different Microsoft Xbox. This is obviously a Microsoft thing, but there's certainly going to be a time with Xbox. But we're seeing a very different relationship between those two arms of the business now.
Yeah, I was going to jump in. All you guys making great points. For me, the news did excite me because, I actually came from as King knows, like they were mad at me last gen. I pretty much came from the PC space, I and took all the advantages of the frame rates and things that I was liking. And then now this generation, it's to my liking with NVMe and all that other stuff and 60 frames.
Yeah,
but,
bougie.
Exactly. So, look, when I was in the PC space, I realized the importance of Discord, how it's integrated into everything for the PC gamer. The PC gamer, pretty much, this is their backbone infrastructure across, multiple, launchers or whatever. Discord is the de facto thing. The other thing we got to recognize too is that I know a lot of people are like, hey, I don't think Microsoft should spend that. From what we understand, I want to shout out Hogue Law, is that Discord approached Microsoft as far as this proposition. These are what the sources are saying. So right now they're trying to get evaluation. They're trying to, see if someone's gonna buy. They're looking potentially to sell. So this is the approach of Phil. Why is King laughing? I don't know why King laughing.
Excuse me, kind sir. I heard you have a whole lot of coin, and we are for sale if you so kindly choose. What is your asking price?
So
is 10 billion too much, sir?
the vibe is, okay. See,
that's a great point. No, that's a great point though, because I think Discord was valued at like $7 billion last year, and obviously Discord has seen VC money. It's seen all kinds of money go into it, and there's a reason why VCs exist. And they exist to get an exit. So if they see that kind of Microsoft, they're looking around, they've acquired ZeniMax, they're continuing to say, look, we're going to do this, that, the other. Then, of course, that makes perfect sense that if you were Discord, if you were a bunch of VCs, you would approach those guys and go, you want some of this?
Exactly, right? And that's it. They know Microsoft's in that acquisition phase, and at the end of the day, if they're looking to sell, which it seems they are, you want to create that space between them, Google, or whoever. Be like, hey, well, Microsoft possibly could buy us for 10. It's basically trying to create that value. But all I would say is this: look, I know for the hardcore Xbox guy, console guy, he's like, look, we should, and I get you, Archimedes. He's like, look, we should be getting a studio and stuff like that. I don't think this is a mutually exclusive thing. I think they can literally do both. And the thing for me, which excites me, is that, from the PC integration into Xbox Live, also, I'm looking at mobile. I think this is a bigger move outside of just gaming. Yeah. If the end game is Game Pass, right? You want this thing on mobile devices. You want this everything. And to be honest, Discord is very, very easily integrated. Now, to Lord Chris's point, yes, they would definitely go from probably the Google backbone over to Azure. You know what I'm saying? But the also point that Lord Chris made is great, is that the way Microsoft seems to be operating now, the same way the ZeniMax deal, is it's almost like outsourcing. We're going to let you continue to do what you do, but you're going to be under the umbrella. So I do feel this is different. And to your point, Lord Dutch, I get you're making valid points. We got Skype, we got the Beam into Mixer example. I completely get it, but I think this is different. If the goal is Game Pass globally, breaking outside of the console reach, because at the end of the day, I know the console gamer this is not necessarily going to affect them, but to me, it's an exciting proposition to have all that active user base on PC now integrated into Xbox network, and this one consolidation of all these players. That's the goal, to get Game Pass everywhere. And maybe they kind of utilize the Nitro tier and stuff like that. There's a lot of options here for them. So
don't that sound better though, what you just said?
It's right.
The Microsoft network. Like, it sounds like Xbox put on a suit and tie, right? Yeah, it sounds like it got cleaned up and it got a shave, it got everything nice, and it walked into the party clean instead of hats and sweatpants. It's this, like, it's a real strong business move. Right. Like, it's a very aggressive business move in a space that they've been wanting to get into for the longest. How do they enter this space? Do they enter the space through Steam? Do they enter the space through this? Right. Sony has entered the space through Epic. And it is a very smart way that they're trying to leverage Epic in that manner. Get someone that's in their infancy to grow with that same company to achieve different levels. I mean, there's tech wise, that was a great deal for Sony, to be honest with you. So I believe that Microsoft hold global control. Archimedes, you'll love this part. They will use this to get to that 100 million active users, 400 million total base, to reactivate those 300 and some odd million to hit that nitro tier.
Right.
But I honestly believe that this level of success will only be achieved with the Microsoft name opposed to the Xbox name.
Right. Last point I'll make is that the other thing people have to realize, especially the PC gaming community, PC gamers are a different breed. They're stuck in their ways. They like their Steam, they like their launcher, and as much as Microsoft has tried to penetrate that space as far as PC Game Pass and PC, PC gamers like, no, I'm going to buy your game on Steam, or I'm going to stay on Discord. I got friends, they don't use Xbox Live on PC. They still use Steam. So if there's a way to integrate this, right, and now you have this seamless cohesion without necessarily disrupting the way they do things, that's more sellable. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's more integratable. And I think that's the other thing we have to look at here. And to me, like I said, I hope it happens. I know it's still, they're just throwing it out. This is not Microsoft approaching them to buy. This is them trying to get evaluation to see how much people will gauge interest. But I do hope it happens. We'll see what happens, man. But I was excited when I saw the news, Dutch. I ain't gonna lie. I was a little excited.
Like I say, the chat, the biggest thing for me is the chat integration across the board, because we know that Xbox Live Party Chat can be finicky at the best of times. But also you've got the audio thing, like the audio quality on Discord is far above that of Xbox Live Party Chat. So that's the bonus for Xbox users. As King mentioned, it'll only do as well as it needs to do if it has the Microsoft name in it. And I think that is what it will be anyway. It will be Microsoft Discord.
There is
Pat, you were just about to say something as well.
Hey?
Oh, yeah.
Pat was. I was going to say, Pat, the quiet Pat was about to say something there as well. So.
No, but I want to get back on the thing that you said about the Twitch app, and when you leave the game, it pauses. But I remember like 2 or 3 years ago in the Xbox Insider app, you can actually put on broadcast all. So they put something in the app and it broadcasts all your stuff, like dashboard and that kind of stuff. And without any reason, without anything letting know, it just disappeared. And it was kind of bummer because I really liked it. Especially when you leave a game, it doesn't pause your stream, So I hope they get this back, and it's much better
like
also for your content,
With Discord's integration, they need to do it as streamlined as that. So they need to really if they're going to integrate it into Xbox, they need to iron out the kinks to get it to work properly. Because what's the point in buying a big service like that and not having it work correctly?
Absolutely.
Shomberlon, you were saying, sorry, as well.
Yeah, I was going to say there's an elephant in the room that I've never seen anybody address so far, and it's roughly we're looking at $10 billion. For the acquisition. So does that mean that Microsoft need to put it on PlayStation to get the money back?
But you're onto something, because isn't it said that every PlayStation owner has a powerful PC?
Oh my God, here we go.
so I mean, we will have access to every PlayStation owner. That'd be great.
Shomberlon, do not encourage him. That was good. That was good.
Encourage me, please.
No, because you've got a lot of cross-platform games that are coming, and to be able to communicate, say, with my brother who only plays on PlayStation while playing, I don't know, Warzone or whatever it is, it's a good thing. It is a good thing.
Let's force them. Let's force them to bend the knee and to use our integration system to chat with us. Because we already know their network is trash. So now, but wait a second, hold on. I got to take that back. They are under the umbrella now. We have them using Observe.
Yes,
service.
they're going to be using Azure service.
Yeah. So right now, they actually stepped their game up. But the day that their money is off.
So they're like the landlord. They're gonna cut the power off the payment for late, King.
Excuse me, sir. Your rent is late.
That's how Microsoft operates. Okay, I didn't know.
No. They let Microsoft do that. That's when Microsoft coming in with the sweatpants and the hoodie. The boss said, "You didn't pay your bill." Excuse me, I just give me till Tuesday. Nah. You said that last month.
That's a God of War port activation fee.
We're gonna have to throttle you back. We're gonna have to throttle you back. Why is my on time?
Get your man, Dutch.
Yeah. You gotta hold me.
You're on fire right now. You're on fire.
King, are you implying PS is on prepay with Azure? Are you implying?
Wilby. Oh, look at Wilby. He said they get the prepay card. Wow.
You know how they have to do that. They have to pay up front. We don't trust their pocket. Their money looking funny in the light.
PlayStation. That takes us neatly into our next topic. Sony's acquisition, or part acquisition, not full, it's 50% acquisition of Evo. It's a strange one, and I'm not quite sure why they've kind of progressed down that route. We understand they're very much kind of knees in with the whole fighting tournament and esports, and for a long time PlayStation was preferred platform for esports across the board, outside of PC gaming, of course, and mobile gaming. But it still doesn't make much sense to part own an esports tournament, or what the real purpose of that is for. It seems like very much a very on-the-cuff decision.
King is ready.
No,
King is ready.
We'll start with King's thoughts.
Yes, he's ready.
I don't think he can keep it in.
I don't think he can control himself.
Doesn't Sony feel like Encino Man? Like, all right, so Encino Man is this frozen caveman who wakes up in this age, right? And it just seems like they're just doing backwards work. Like, let's go 50-50 on something that's dead. How about Blockbuster? let's like Evo is dead right now, especially with the pandemic going on. I know you brought them at pennies on the dollar. Is the reason why it's pennies on the dollar? There's nobody there. Like, literally, there's absolutely nobody there. You don't have the infrastructure online wise, and that is not a good way to run a tournament. You know, tournaments is made for people you can watch them to make sure that they're not modding the controllers and doing all this stuff there. You know, you have to have eyes on it to actually accurately crown a champion. So one, you lose all credibility there once it goes online, period. That's it. All right, that's done. Okay, so and Lord Sovereign was saying that there was different like rollback network stuff that I have no idea what that stuff means. But I do mean this. If you're in a tournament and you're having a fight with somebody on a game, you got to be next to each other. The mask, the testing, all that stuff is really not going to work. It's financially, it's going to be a huge burden on Sony that they're going to drop this. I can see this is why they went 50-50. They didn't have whole money. They don't have, I'm going to go in there and buy the whole club money. I got to buy out the bar money. Like, I'm going to buy a couple of bottles. And make sure that they don't buy those dudes over there look like they thirsty. Make sure that they only buy a couple of bottles. Only give them a couple of bottles. So their money is a little bit different. Right? So how they acquiring things, they trying to be strategic. And it just seems like they felt like they was back in 86 in the arcade room. And it was like, let's buy the arcade room. This is a nice place. You know? Arcades are dead, bro. Like, what are you doing? I just don't get the logic behind half the stuff that they're doing. And I don't think it's going to end well for these dudes. I just really don't think so.
I just didn't understand it myself. Very much on the same lines as you, King. It doesn't make much sense to invest at least 50% of a company that is primarily based on esports, and there is nothing else Evo kind of do or have done to warrant being bought out by Sony at all. Why would you buy an event? That's like going 50-50 on buying E3.
For the fighting game aficionados, I would like to comment. Look, I get it. You know, I'm not going to dispute King here. I know where he's going. You know, as far as Evo's presence and what's going on, they've clearly been in decline. They've been in serious trouble, actually. You know, we said it on ILP. You know, obviously the financial aspect, COVID has ravaged them because, like King said, it's a physical, in-place tournament. You need to kind of be there. And you can't do that, during the pandemic. So you got that. And then what we learned is they just came off like this huge, like sexual harassment or some type of harassment thing that was going on. They were in shambles, to be honest, For the fighting game community, we are happy that it does exist because it is it has a lot of nostalgic history from gaming, from a fighting community standpoint. All the biggest tournaments, the best players, whether it be Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Smash, all these other games, are still going to carry on. So they do have a presence. The thing is going to be this, like King said, this was not some big, lucrative move. And they like King said, this is not them owning it, right? This is literally basically I don't want to say taking advantage of the situation, but literally coming in and not having to contribute as much to save it. Yeah. They get some positive press with it. But at the end of the day, Sony has kept fighting kind of alive. We have to be honest. You know what I'm saying? In terms of, Microsoft's
taking Street Fighter exclusive.
That's one of them, right? And then, we outside of
keeping it alive, they killed it. They killed Street Fighter. How many of y'all play Street Fighter if you don't got a PlayStation? They killed it.
Well, I mean, look, we heard that they are going to go multi-plat most likely the next one with Capcom's next entry. But at the end of the day, like they've always, I mean, come on, King. We came from the Tekken. We came.
Yeah, but
they've always had fighting in their blood.
Okay. Sony always had fighting in their blood. It's just the mentality is so 86. This is so 86.
I feel you. But my thing is, it could be so inexpensive, it's from their standpoint. And I don't want to give you too much fuel, but let's be honest. From an optic standpoint, Microsoft is doing a lot right now, right? They're doing this, they're doing that. The running joke from Jeff Grubb is like, Jim Ryan, hey, I don't care what it is, buy something, right? Like, I mean, from an optics, it gives the company a little bit of positive press, and they're saving Evo and whatever. That's what I'm saying. I'm for the fighting game community, the people who love this stuff. And remember, it's a niche thing, right? And it also could potentially if Sony has some deals set up in the future, whether it's exclusive content or a fighting game. This is a platform.
Then they're killing the fighting genre. Period. This sets up because when they got Street Fighter, right, and they didn't allow Street Fighter to go anyplace else, and I was forced to buy that game, and it came in the broken state that it did come in. I can understand why other people passed on it. All right, so then the game actually matured into something that was decent, but it was still locked to that platform. Now, I feel that it being locked to that platform, and these guys show when they got control, they don't care about it going no place else. So if they do lock down certain deals with this Evo stuff, is this the only place we get to game on fighting games? What happens now with Tekken? Do they do that with Tekken? Because they did it for years.
From what I hear, and according to the multiple sources from Evo has said, everything that is multiplayer is going to stay like Smash Brothers, for example, is huge.
Yeah, they can't do that.
They can't do that, right? All I'm saying, if they have, basically, if you watch Evo, I know people here don't like it, but if you watch Evo, usually in the fighting game community, the new Mortal Kombat character.
Yes,
it's a marketing play. All they want to see is the thing debuted on there, guys holding a PlayStation controller. It's just visual, it's optics. It just brings more attention to the brand. But from what I understand, they're not going to lock people out or lock content. Like this is not really gaming per se for the game.
This is the Sony brand.
This is just the Sony brand. There you go. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
It seems more of a market. So esports is not going to go away, and it's going to grow and grow and grow. And it's kind of, I think it grew by 1.1 billion or something last year, and it's going to continue to grow. And you look and have conversations with businesses like Tencent and so on and so forth. They are all over kind of esports. F1 is moving into esports. Esports is sticking around. I see this more. So I think RTS was like the venture capital arm that acquired Evo, and Lord Cognito is right. it's making use of a bad situation so you get more bang for your buck. You don't have to spend as much and so on and so forth. And it wouldn't surprise me if RTS kind of turned around to someone like Sony who've been involved in this and gone, do you fancy throwing in on this bottle of bottle of Cristal? Do you want to go out on this?
Half on this.
So it for me, it's more of a kind of a longer term kind of esports business play. It's more of a marketing deal. So certainly for people who like Champions League football and stuff in Europe, PlayStation's all over that that brand and it has been for 5 years or more. For me, it's more of that play, and it's actually they haven't had to spend a lot of money. Cognito's right. There's a bad situation going on, and a VC can sniff that out. They get the wallet out and they take like $100 out instead of and I think it's been a perfect opportunity for kind of Sony Corp to go in on that,
right?
And kind of make use of the. It doesn't, when you've got like idiots on social media saying this is a better deal than the ZeniMax deal.
That was funny, yeah.
They're just like, oh my god, they've got no idea what they're talking about. They're just chatting utter bollocks, basically. But it's a bit like the Discord stuff, but Discord's got quite a clear roadmap ahead of it. This is like a business decision. This is a marketing decision. This is kind of like PlayStation on Champions League. Esports is going to grow, and PlayStation are going to go along for the ride and stuff.
Let me ask you a question.
You're not just.
I just got a question. Are we seeing now that the pie is getting bigger with these with video games, our chosen media that we love, and the parent companies taking a bigger look at what's going on, because it seems like a parent company move.
Yeah.
Do you feel that was the move in how we can explore which ways to grow in this business while they're in its infancy or stuff like that? Like you said, it seems like a probing type of thing from a larger entity opposed to the smaller entity, which is PlayStation, opposed to Sony itself. Sony, CEO.
Yeah, so it's definitely, when you kind of dig into it, I know like a lot of people ran with like they attach the PlayStation brand to it,
right?
But it's Sony Corp that's done this kind of deal with RTS, and then they will have attached the PlayStation brand for the marketing rights, the connection, as Cognito was saying, to fighting games and fighting history. So I don't have. I look at things slightly different because I've got my own business.
Yes,
like I'm a gamer, and I used to be a dev, and I'll get back into dev once I finish this journey that I'm on at the moment. But I look at things more kind of holistically. So I look at kind of what Tencent are doing. I look at other ways for me to get into esports in my business, and we do kind of like publishing platforms and so on and so forth. So I can see the growth curve in kind of esports. It is a bigger play, you're right, King. It's there's more of a kind of the slice of the pie is growing. Now Xbox and Microsoft have gone, you guys fight over there. We're going to be the Netflix. We're going to be we're going to be the everything of kind of game and entertainment. You're going to be able to play everywhere. When you buy that LG telly in a year or two time, it's going to have xCloud on it. It's going to have this on it. They're going everywhere. They're going completely different model. And I think, I said last year that kind of PlayStation had rested on the laurels a bit. The PS5 is kind of like a medium upgrade, and it should have come out a bit earlier, and they hung on to it, and they kind of overclocked that. They didn't really have an SSD solution. It's kind of causing a few issues, and it is causing overheating problems and so on and so forth, which I've not really spoken much about, but it is, and they're trying to kind of solve that. And it's why I said a PS5 Pro would more likely come out, and almost kind of be Sony's final console in the traditional sense. But it's a bigger kind of corporation play, and you summed it up perfectly, saying, Microsoft have now taken notice of Xbox and gone, we've got the right guy in charge, we've got the right people surrounding him. We've now got see what money they can bring in. Okay, have some money. Let's do this together. Let's acquire. Let's get ZeniMax, I don't know whose birth that was.
Well, that was great. Whoever did that was great. Great timing. Who was it?
I'm sorry, guys.
Clip that. Clip
Well,
that. That's good. He was all analytical. Continue like this.
So I think Sony have got to change things up now. There's kind of negativity coming out of like Sony dropping some of the Japanese devs, and there's like a weird switch, isn't there, where kind of Japan's being left behind by Sony, and they're now concentrating more on kind of Western markets, and like Phil. My brother's just commenting as well. And Phil's obviously been a massive advocate for Japan, and you're kind of seeing the turn where Microsoft are kind of going into Japan and trying to kind of.
I think the only reason why Phil Dominus Maximus Aurelius Spencer is daring to go to Japan is because he just wants to be the person that from the CEO from Microsoft to plant that flag. Just to penetrate that market, just to solidify, because there's different tiers of CEOs in the history of Xbox. And you got Steve Ballmer, you got these guys that were actually in charge, and they're pretty much close to each other in terms of achievements. You can say one is this way, one is that way. He clearly wants to be, when it's all said and done, the greatest, CEO at Microsoft to ever done it. And the only way to achieve something of that nature is the fact that, if you can beat the PlayStation, you're not going to beat them at their own game. And I think that's where the others either failed or came up short trying to beat them at their own game. They went outside the box. He went outside the box. And to achieve that level of success in Japan is paramount in order to be crowned king. So I think that's the only reason why he's really going hard. Besides the fact that, to succeed in somebody else's home territory is definitely a feather in your cap. It's definitely a feather in your cap.
Sure. And I think it's unfortunate to see kind of Japan studio go and to see kind of Sony's direction move more kind of west when we had all these kind of great, crazy kind of, leading edge games that would come out of Japan. They'd be really kind of risky. They'd try new things and stuff. And we all kind of enjoyed those games. And I think the ZeniMax deal, which allowed kind of, Tango to come into the fray. Yeah. And there's a Japanese connection with Microsoft there. And then Phil will go and work hard with those guys, and then that will spread, and there'll be other kind of devs that get picked up and so on and so forth. So I think you're right. He wants to kind of put that flag in the ground and say, look, I've come from a dev background, I'm a gamer, I want to kind of work with these different markets. And I think he's seen kind of Sony step away, and it's almost kind of
opposite. You're right. Him and them are moving more Europe. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
And it's kind of while you leave the car around the corner, you go and take the wheels off. He's gone around and he's kind of stepped in and said, right, I'll show you some love if the guys that you've been used to are not showing you any love.
Because that analogy is so good, when he ain't treating you right. I'm just saying, when he's taking you for granted, I'm just saying, we got a smaller console. See, he didn't care about your space, so he came with this big bulbous situation. And here, take this, and put this inside your living room.
Remember, he changed the circle and the X button configuration. That was a big deal.
That was huge.
Japanese guys, they were not happy with it because this used to be always their configuration as far as the confirm button, so to speak. I didn't realize how big a deal that was until the outcry.
Well, Jim Dance Moves Ryan is all about certain things, and I feel that he's going to bring them current in a certain way that is not traditional for us.
Right.
As far as the PlayStation brand goes, they're not going to like the moves that he's going to make because he's a businessman. He's at the bottom line type of man, like the numbers type of thing. And I see a levels of success that he's going to have, but he's not going to be endeared to that community. Right. Sony will, like the parent company, will love the moves that he does make, and he will financially make them relevant in a space where they're actually taking a dip. If you have 120 million sold, if this is the number that you have, and only 1% is purchasing your games at such a clip, you have to find out what's going on. How can you garner more purchases throughout your whole your base? How can we extend our base? How can we extend the life of certain games? And if you're looking over seeing one company do one thing, you're trying to do the same thing on a level, especially if you have iconic IPs. There's no reason why you can't do the same thing, if not greater, in your space. So how can we maximize the space that we do have? And he's a numbers guy. He's going to run the numbers. They're going to get it right. And I honestly believe that there'll be a force to be reckoned with, but to the detriment of the Japanese companies and studios. I think that's going to happen because all that stuff is Americanized type of Western type of thinking, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
Archie was going to say something as well before, wasn't he?
That was, I think, like 3 topics ago. You guys are jumping all over me.
Sorry, Archie.
No problem. No, the whole Japanese discussion is actually quite interesting. I had a similar discussion on another podcast a few weeks ago. The thing here really is Microsoft is looking at the console and gaming space, like how big is that market? Yeah, it's more or less stuck at the same numbers. If you take the Xbox consoles, the Nintendo, and the PlayStation consoles together, you're at potential customer base of like 200 million, something like that. Yeah, plus minus. And the growth rate in that space is really, really low. You can shift customers over from PlayStation to Xbox or from Xbox to Nintendo or whatever, but the overall market is more or less saturated and the growth rate is slow. But with the Japanese market, and not just the Japanese market, I see Microsoft more in the Korean, South Korean market, and eventually also in the Chinese market. That's where the potential of growth lies, because those kind of gamers, they not just like to game on their PCs or their consoles. They have the mobile space. If you have ever been to South Korea, mobile there is a completely different thing. Like we are used to it here in Europe or even in the US. They are 5 years ahead of us, and people really use their mobiles differently, like we do, and that's where the growth market is, and that's the strength of xCloud. And then you look at the Chinese market, where you have a potential 1 billion extra customers. The Japanese market is slow. The Japanese market is small, pardon me. The Japanese market is a marketing market. You have to have that as a to have a diverse portfolio, to not just have Western games, looking games. It also brings a lot of attraction here in Europe and the US to have these JRPGs, for instance, in that thing. It's not about actually selling devices in Japan. That's a small market. Even if you are successful there, yeah, it's still a small market. They wanna use that Japanese base to get into other Asian regions, and with xCloud they have the best potential to do so, because in those kind of regions the stationary console is I don't want to say dead, but is definitely small, getting smaller and smaller every year. So that's where what is so interesting about their moves in that region, yeah, because they want to grow the gaming on mobile. And coming back to our discussion in the beginning of the show, having a Discord there to connect those gamers there, yeah, to have xCloud then as the game service platform, where, because 5G is no problem in South Korea. You have that everywhere. So this is what you and is also in the big metropolitan regions in China. You have way better cell phone reception than what you are used to, even if you're downtown Manhattan. Yeah, that's really something. So yeah, that's where Microsoft can see a potential growth of their business, and that's why they are willing to invest 7.5 billion in the ZeniMax and 10 billion in Discord and so on, because they are looking, how can we grow our market? Yeah.
And you're right there. It is about growth, and obviously a few years. It sounds stupid, but they did the same with Minecraft. 2.5 billion. Everybody laughed at when it first took it over, but it's sitting at over 220 million users, with 150 million active, several different franchises. It's absolutely booming. If anything, it's still growing. It's one of them games, much like Grand Theft Auto, where you're not sure who hasn't got that game now. But yet it still thrives, and obviously they've added a marketplace in there for creators to get paid for creating worlds that other people can enjoy whilst also getting paid themselves. So it's just expanding it. Obviously they were looking at Roblox. If everybody looked at that now, none of us have played that. However, Roblox has now reached that point where it's too big of an investment to take over. It's £40 billion valuation, which is insane. But a few years back, they were looking at that and they were still contemplating, are we going to do Roblox after we've just purchased Minecraft? Is it going to work in the same space as Minecraft? Again, it's took off of its own accord, and obviously it's massive. But you're right, Archie, it's about finding businesses that have a huge growth potential, that already have significant status.
Archie's spot on. It's not those, Microsoft and Xbox are not fighting for that sliver of pie that everyone's been fighting over. They're creating a massive new slice of pie. And I think you look at kind of any business, and if any business wants to grow globally, they look at the Chinese market. And Archie's absolutely right. That's where xCloud comes to play. They don't need to sell hardware, therefore they don't need to worry about hardware being copied. And have I bought the genuine Xbox, or have I bought this kind of crazy, Android running thing, or whatnot? So that xCloud and that kind of mobile reach and stuff in the kind of Asia market and China market is where that business can grow. They're not worried about how do we grow, exponentially in the UK and the US and so on and so forth. It's how do we tap those billion people over there and bring them into the ecosystem. So it's an amazing point that Archie made.
I think the whole ability to pick up your phone and press a button and download an app and the accessibility of it, because we've been trained on these devices. We've been trained to shop. We've been trained to do pretty much everything on these devices. We're pretty much the Android within ourselves, figuratively speaking. Because at the tap of a button, we have all information in the world at our hands, right? So when you have this level of connectivity to something, how can we keep our eyes? Because as this research that we look at our phones, I don't know how many million times in one day per person, right? So what are your eyes going to? And if they can tap into that and you are even 10% of that person's interaction, then that's where you start to see the real money, because again, that person is accessing your content 24/7. Discord works that well, where you have your Bluetooth on, you're talking to your friends, you jump in your car and they're still in the raid, and okay, so what part are y'all at, so I can get back home to get to this part, or we can set up a fighting match this way, and y'all streaming it now, I can be in at round 2 or something like that. I think that level of accessibility Microsoft is looking at, and they're trying to get to those gamers now. Like you were saying, as far as pirated devices, we're at a space now where speed wise, as far as internet and global reach wise, we can get an app into your television, onto your cell phone, onto your tablet, onto your PC, where you have to buy no hardware and you're in. That is the market that they want to be in. Now, people are afraid, as far as console gamers, excuse me, of walking away from physical consoles. I don't think Microsoft this is their last physical console. Maybe you start to get a dongle or something like that a little bit later on, after one more iteration of the series consoles, but you probably get smaller and smaller, and they start farming out everything toward the cloud type of thing once we are to that point. But I think when we get to that part where it's all about streaming and all about the services, I think Microsoft has taken the lead in that space, and I don't believe them acquiring Discord would take them away. I actually believe, when listening to you guys, I actually believe Discord is their gateway in to those users that they've been trying to hit, and whoever's idea it is, even if it's Discord going to them or if it's them probing Discord to see the viability in it. I think if they get to that point, excuse me, and they purchase them, Archimedes, your level of world domination will definitely take fruit and bear fruit in that manner, because I don't think they will be able to be stopped at that point.
I completely agree. It's the only thing we look at, of course, and this is debatable, of course. We don't know the true value of Discord, obviously, if they're looking at that and the 10 billion figures being touted, that they've looked over the books to decide on that fee. People would say the same for Bethesda, 7.5 billion. How's that the case? But if you have a look at the technology you've got behind Bethesda, you've got their own streaming services or cloud services and everything like that they've got, their technology. Then they've got ID Tech, they've got their own game engines. So you're investing not just in studios and in staff and in IPs, but also technology. So that's where the value comes from. Discord's harder to look at because, of course, as you mentioned, on the face of things, to us, it's a communications app. Outside of that, what else does it have? Or what else is that? Where is the kind of foundation? Where is the value in that service? They see the books, they can see how much it's worth. So again, it's more of up for debate, but
it's the user value, isn't it? As we were saying, that kind of data value. If you look at Instagram when it was acquired for like $700 million or whatever, and it's kind of, people are like, oh, they're just sharing photos and stuff like that. Facebook were frightened that Instagram had the user base that it had. I'm not saying Microsoft is frightened of Discord, but Facebook was frightened of the user base on Instagram because they were kind of like, well, what if people drop Facebook and start to go on this social media platform? So that was a user acquisition. They weren't bothered with tech or this, that, the other. I think Discord is a part tech, but I think the user value, the 7 billion valuation last year, is on 300 million registered users and 150 active users who are paying. So there is a revenue user tech play. But you're right. The ZeniMax acquisition is much easier. And I think I replied to an article which is coming out. I think Xbox Era are going to bring it out at some point. And it was about the ZeniMax deal. And the ZeniMax deal is part of a long-term play for Xbox. So this is part of, as Lord King was saying, kind of before we came on air, your HBO, your Disney, your streaming services, they need content. They need content creators. They need the best creators and so on and so forth. We benefit from all of this Bethesda or ZeniMax stuff now because there's a back catalogue of great games. We're getting those on Game Pass and so on and so forth. But really, for me, these kind of studio or ZeniMax acquisitions are for 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line when a console doesn't exist and it's a service. And your service has the better creators on there. It's got the better content on there, like a movie streaming service or whatever. I think I said Microsoft wanted to be the kind of, Netflix of games. It's not, they want to be the Amazon Prime of games, basically, where they go, here's your suite of products. If you want to play on a console, play on a console. If you want to play through your telly, through your PC, through your phone, we've got it all. And actually, to back that up, we've got 30-odd studios. We've now got 40 studios. We've now got 50 studios because they just carry on acquisition. Because they want that platform and service to have the best creators. They want the Zack Snyders. They want all of those people making the content on that platform. So it's a longer play, but luckily we get to play Prey for free at 60 frames a second. And, all of these kind of glorious kind of Bethesda games now. And as you said, Dutch, we may get to see a Gears on id Tech, or we may get to see a Halo on id Tech, or whatever they want to do.
That's exciting, brother.
It would be amazing.
Yeah, looking at the new Doom, I said, "Oh my god!" I was just sitting there like
a proprietary engine in house that you control.
Halo OTST.
Ooh.
Very nice.
A lot of potential. A lot of potential.
Yeah, it's tech.
Yeah.
Patchy, you were about to say something as well, there, brother. What were you about to say?
Well, no, I didn't want to say anything. But
he said, "No, I just gave you that burp."
What I want to say first is, you did a really, really nice job on that console. Again, I was stunned by the results. Even the link that Archie shared with us, it even came on the German news site of. It's crazy. Like it's really big.
As well.
Yeah, it's really big. So, man, seriously, you did an amazing job. So, and also I want to say, look at the chat, man. Like 72 people are watching. So, yeah, I'm grateful for all the people
hit that
out there, man.
Hit that like button, man.
Yeah, absolutely awesome. 72 people, 75 max at times. It's awesome. Yeah. So thanks to everybody for the support. It's outstanding. We get nicely into Friday's event for Xbox, of course. This isn't a big first-party studio event, but it is an ID at Xbox event, which is still awesome to see. For those that aren't aware, what ID at Xbox is independent developers working collaboratively with Xbox to bring content to Xbox and their ecosystem. ID at Xbox is an initiative that's been around for quite some time now. And one of the main reasons indies and independent developers love working with Xbox in the first place. They have said that there's going to be over 100 games shown on Friday on the ID at Xbox showcase. And we know, of course, that also includes some of those you've already seen touted, including the likes of Scorn and Warhammer, etc. So there's going to be a lot of games, and this kind of final major topic here is about kind of expectations and hopes for Friday, what we're looking forward to seeing and what we're looking forward to seeing more of. We'll start with Shom this time around.
My biggest thing I'm looking forward to, and I know they've kind of downplayed it a little bit, but Stalker 2. Stalker 2 is one of the games I'm really hoping makes it this year. If it gets delayed, it gets delayed, especially the times we're living in. I'd rather have a fully completed game that the devs are happy with rather than the game rushed out the door just to fulfill a date. But yeah, it's what I like about it. It's from the team that was really behind. Well, I can't remember which way it went around. Anyway, its roots is Metro is roots is from Stalker. So I think a lot of ex-Stalker devs went over to make Metro. Which is what got me really, really excited for it. I do actually have all 3 Stalkers on my old laptop, but I didn't really ever play them because I suck at keyboard and mouse.
Those were so great graphic showcases back in the days. When the first Stalker came out, it was kind of like this Crisis, a game where you not in terms of gameplay or the setting or anything, but where every PC nerd tried to, can you run Crisis? Can you run Stalker?
Can you run Stalker?
That's
can your rig run Stalker? Oh, it can't. But yeah, that's one of the games I'm really looking forward to. I do know that there's always going to be the negative Nancy's out there who are going to be like, where's the new games? Where's the first party? And which I like the fact that they've tried to nip that in the bud already. Like, a week and a bit in advance saying, look, set your expectations. They seem to be doing that a lot, actually, Microsoft.
They kind of have to after the May event last year.
Well, it's more of a downplaying and then blowing your mind. Yeah. It's like with, they downplayed the round table a little bit.
Yep.
And they were like, look, it's just going to be a chat. It's a little informal thing. There's nothing going to be special. And yeah, they didn't announce anything new, but they still kind of like, oh, there's an exclusive question straight off the bat. So I expect maybe something like that where they're kind of downplaying it a little bit, but they might have a surprise. I'm not sure what it could be. Maybe it's the game that
Ooh, Archie with the exclusive.
All right.
No insider knowledge, but I
Nah, brother. I heard you
theory.
bubbling. Something's cooking. What's going on?
Listen,
I mean-
there are a couple of games out there that we know that were supposed to come out last year. And they got pushed back into 2021. I'm talking of games like Psychonauts 2. We are talking about games like Crossfire X. And I know those are not kind of indie games, but I doubt that any of those games will come out in the main season. Right. And they will all, Crossfire X and Psychonauts 2, those games will come out before the fall season starts. So for Microsoft to announce them in a June or July showcase would be kind of too late. So they have to kind of start talking about those games. And especially Psychonauts 2 is, as much as I'm looking forward to it, it is not considered probably a big AAA exclusive game. That's a good point. It's prior to the acquisition, everybody would have said this is an indie game. So I'm thinking that we might get an announcement for the release date for Psychonauts 2, because Tim Schafer has said in his Christmas video that they have started to work on the credits of the game, that this should tell us how far they are along in the game development. And so I could see that game release in May, June, something like that, and we get the announcement on Friday. It would fit in that setting. Yeah, that's just my guess. No inside knowledge. It's just what I'm guessing. And I could also see Crossfire X to be at least teased to some degree. That they have those two as kind of the surprises. Yeah, because we know about some of the other games I'm really looking forward to, like The Ascent, Stalker, Second Extinction. Yeah, I can't wait to shoot dinosaurs again. I do know about one game that will be shown, but can't speak about that yet. But this is so. I know you do. You're under the same NDA. So
ding. I know. Thank you. I'll keep the secret quiet.
Well, yeah. So, but there are a couple of great games coming. The thing is, what I've been saying on Twitter for a week now is 2021 will be the year of the indie games. Because we have already seen so many of the big AAA games get pushed to 2022. Yeah, Gotham Knights just a few days ago. So we are kind of now getting into that phase where we say, okay, what will actually be the big AAA bangers this year? There will only be a handful. We know Halo probably won't get pushed again, but everything else, we will see other delays. And that's why this indie showcase is so important, because this is the year of indies, where a lot of these indies will keep us busy because of all the delays of the AAA games. And so I'm really looking forward to this event. I think it's going to be a bigger thing than we might think, just for the fact that we will get to play a lot of indies this year, because we won't have many AAAs.
No.
And I think you're right. And I think Sony has shown that you can release a game in the summer and it do exceptionally well. You've almost guaranteed, the last couple of games they've released, they've been summertime. Last of Us 2, they released Last of Us, and the original one, in the summertime. Yeah. So it's
Ghost of Tsushima just a month ago.
The only caveat with those were that's coming at the end of their cycle, so they were trying to build momentum going into the next console. But as far as the dead time in the summertime, I think that's kind of the best time. And tax time, Nintendo has mastered tax time. I just feel that they understand when the populace will have an influx of cash, and Sony knows when the populace is at a dead point where games are either gearing up for the holiday push or just past the E3 area. There's a dearth of games being played, and I think you're hitting the nail on the head. You're perfectly on point with that. They understand that market is untapped. That normally, developers tend to hold their games until the season, And I think that's a mistake. I think that you're looking at potential because they think the children now go outside and play. Our children are different.
It's different generation.
Our children is completely different.
Yeah.
They want to stay home and play Fortnite or Apex or whatever the hell that they're playing, and they don't really care to run outside and go into the sun. We have to actually get up and force our children. Let's go to the park. Let's go do this. Let's go stretch our legs. Let's go do something creative. And I think you're right, Shomberlon. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think like Archie said and Shomberlon said, look, man, I mean, obviously expectations in check. We're not expecting to see Halo Infinite here. That's that kind of a deal. But at the end of the day, I like this stuff because, it just seems that Xbox is on such a roll, right? They're setting expectations correct, like Shomberlon said. They're telling you, hey, this is what we're going to get here. And then, even with the round table, but then they're pleasantly surprising you when those events do come. And that's great. That's improving in marketing. That's actually getting people to set the correct expectation. And now they're surprised, for this, like the games you mentioned, I think it was, the Ascent. I want to see what's going on. Stalker 2 is huge. I know they've come out with a statement recently and said, kind of set expectations, what to be shown there. I have a long shot hope. I heard it was shot down, but I'm still going to hope anyway, which was I want Hades. So I would love that game to be announced at some point.
We've seen it in the past as well, the way they've said, no, it's not going to be there. It isn't going to be there. And then it's there.
I would love
that game.
I know. I would love
I do apologize for your hopes and dreams.
Hey, I could wish.
Let's shoot those down.
It's that 21 minutes. It looks really good.
Shit, bro.
Yeah, we've been waiting for that.
I don't think we will hear, but I'd love to hear more about last night.
Yes, that's another one. Look, they've got a lot of potential here. The other thing I want to see is what indies get the Game Pass treatment. If there's anyone, that we'll see. We'll see.
No. Every game from the that was my only point. My only point, because I'm getting ready to run out of here right now. All right. So my only point was from last year's show. Every game that was shown that's shown up in Game Pass or
they've made statements like that before. Yeah. They've done it before.
So
that could be a surprise.
And
that could be it. Yeah.
Well, but they tell you that they let you know ahead of time that all these games that are being shown, if you're going to be showcased with us, we understand that it's going to be in Game Pass. All right, so I'm taking that as a given. The only games that I do believe that will wow you, because they said set expectations low. I'm hoping for a Wukong. I'm hoping to see
that's big budget, though.
But that's not big budget. That's a small.
No, that's the Chinese one, isn't it?
That's not. It's not big budget. It's just a big. It looks nice, but it's still an indie game, But they're using different type of. When you're using Unreal can make a small indie developer look big budget. It's how you use your tools and your assets in your hands to bring your story to light. So I believe that the lines are being blurred between AAA, AA, and single A type of games nowadays. The amount of resources that are put in are equal amongst the boards, and you have to give credit to Unreal in bringing these worlds together. Now, I think this is the year that we get the Unreal Pack Engine 5 that's going to drop at some point in time, and everybody will have access to this. And remember, you don't have to pay them until after your game sells 1 million. So I think everybody should jump onto that as far as indies go. And the bridge from 4 to 5 is heard to be a whole lot cleaner. With that being said, this showcase, I do believe you're going to get some gems in this, but I believe Bethesda working with Microsoft is going to give you a level of presentation to the show that's going to be a lot different than what we're used to. I want to see what the level of acquisition help Bethesda flair, because they have a flair to their style. Will they give Microsoft that cachet? Because Microsoft always seemed like the stiff dude in the club that couldn't dance. He had the money. He had
So
power, but he doesn't have no flair. And I want to see if they bring that flair. They teach them how to dress. They teach them how to talk. They teach them how to present. They teach them how to, have that comedic timing. I want to see the transition from being the stiff corporate dude into being the savvy corporate dude that can move in a room and garner attention. Because we're always looking for Microsoft to step on the rake. I don't want them to step on the rake this week. I want them to show gameplay, 30 minutes of gameplay. That's great. 100 games. Some of the games we did see from last time. Those games that we did see from last time, show actual gameplay deeper into those games. The other games can be showed at another time. So expectations is low. I do want them to go deeper into the Asian markets, the Korean markets, and to bring those games over. Some of those games that I did see on single trailers that didn't have a platform to push them. And I want to see those games actually come to Game Pass to show the viability into the platform. That's about it. I don't expect anything else really from it. Nothing mind-shattering. I from what I hear, you're supposed to have a show a month leading up to the big show that should be in June.
That was literally my point. Yeah, that was last my point. Before I got to Archie's got to go. You got to go. My last point is just that I'm just happy about the cadence. It seems like Xbox fans are getting news consistently. And like you said, if this is part of that whole rollout that leads into an E3 that potentially could lead into 2 shows. One is a Microsoft show and one is a Bethesda show. That excites me because that means there's a lot of content. And even if they do the third-party showcase again, I would love to see that again. But Archie, I know you got to go, so I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm out of
All right,
one last comment on that. I don't think it would be a good idea to have a separate Xbox and Bethesda event because they are one company now, and the messaging needs to be we are one team now. They can do two shows, no problem, but all under the Xbox or Microsoft umbrella.
Of course.
They're one team now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
That's literally what I meant. Awesome. What I'm going to do now is both King and Archie need to go now. So we're going to let them jump out. But before they do, we're going to give them a good send-off. So, Lord King, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here today, brother, as always.
Yes, sir.
And welcome back anytime. But if you let the people know what you've got coming up this week, I know King of Statues obviously is always rocking, and you've always got some new content up there. So let people know what you've got and where they can find you.
Well, you can find me on Dolph Castle X this Friday at 9 p.m. That's DCX open mic. I'm there. That's where I'm with my statue group, and we're talking about new and latest statues. Like I was just fighting with somebody right now with some statues that are ordered, and he's telling me some other slow boat crap, and I'm like, give me my money back. I didn't send me $1,400 for no reason. I want my money now. You can find me on Twitter, King David OTW. Same tag for my Xbox, so I'm always playing Xbox. I'm always on, and on my PlayStation is Xbox 360 Lover 01. They locked me out right now. I don't know why.
You don't know why.
I don't know why. I think Jim Dance Moves Ryan understood that I'm out here wilding out, so he's trying to shut me down. So I'll be back. But it's always a pleasure hanging out with you guys. It's so much fun. I wish I could stay longer, but I got some prior commitments that I got to take care of. And it's like I said, it's great seeing you guys. And please, can we play some PUBG together, brother?
Oh, facts. Yeah, he's a
yes.
I mentioned PUBG to my friends, and they're like, "Ew, you stink." And
I actually miss it. I
want to play it. I want to get it there. So you look like a damn pro. So I want to.
Yeah, if I can get carried with that,
there's no carry in the PUBG.
Listen. He can throw me in a level 2 backpack.
Yeah.
Definitely get that set up.
Let's do it. I'm down the game. We got a game, man.
All right. I'll catch you guys later. Have a blessed day.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Salute.
See ya.
And next up for the goodbyes, it's Archie. Archie, thanks very much again for coming, brother. If you
thanks for having me.
Find you and what you're up to next.
Yeah, it's been a blast. It's always with the Lords at the house and Chris. We always have a good time. So thanks again for inviting me. People can find me basically everywhere. Here on YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, at Boxenberger, everywhere the same. Of course, I'll be covering to some degree the event on Friday on my channel. I'll also be on Boom's show. He will stream the event live, and we will have a post show. I'll be on that. as well. So yeah, exciting times ahead, and
Nice.
can't wait.
I see where the loyalties lie.
Ooh. Oh, I'm getting out of that. That's family business. I'm getting out of that.
I'm not commenting.
Very much in demand.
All right.
Very
I wish I
much in
could stay
demand.
longer, but I have to get up really early tomorrow. And so, yeah, I got to go now. Too bad. Okay.
Take care, Art.
Thanks, guys. Have a good
Hello,
one.
brother.
Have a good one, Archie.
And then there were 5.
Number 5.
So number 5. I just wanted to say quickly on the indie stuff is that I'm always excited to see what our kind of indie devs are up to. I think they take risks. They're kind of exciting, and I think one of the things that people may not have thought about is actually those kind of indie devs and studios. Pandemic doesn't necessarily affect those guys as much, or guys and girls, as much because. All these big AAA studios have been hit because they need to, get into the office and kind of sit around, and there's these huge teams and stuff. But obviously, some of those smaller indie devs, they can just hunker down at home, crack on, work on their own or work with a handful of people and stuff. So I'm hoping we do see some, we do see an influx of kind of indie games, this year because of the pandemic. And I think it was touched upon before. I'm really looking forward to, 12 minutes. I think it's now got McAvoy and doing voiceover. It's got Willem Dafoe in and stuff. So that just looks like it's going to be awesome.
Are there any other titles that you kind of are really looking forward to? Obviously, for me, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Stalker 2. Hopefully, more of Scorn. More of Warhammer.
Scorn. Yeah.
I really want to see how that Warhammer game kind of looks out. Of course, we've seen what the other kind of Warhammer universe game shown off the other day. I've forgotten what it was.
Can't remember.
Yeah, but that also looks quite cool. But of course, then we're looking at other, like you mentioned, 12 minutes, which looks again very alluring. I wouldn't say awesome, but it looks alluring. There's a lot of good cast members in there. We don't really know what the premise of the game is yet. I'm hoping to see, and I don't know whether or not we will because it's been very much quiet for a long time. But The Last Night.
Yeah, that was something. Yeah, that was something that looked awesome. That kind of Blade Runner. Was it the Blade Runner kind of steampunk type, cyberpunk type game? Which it kind of fizzled out a bit, didn't it? But then I think they reassured everyone that they were cracking on and stuff. But imagine that kind of rearing its head and being we're going to help out and stuff. But I'm always excited to see indie. I like indie devs. They kind of knuckle down, work hard, and just crack on with stuff. And as I say, they take a few more risks. They try different things and stuff. They haven't got big publishers behind them saying you can't do this, you can't do that. So I'm looking forward to just see what comes out. I think expectations are in the right place. I think Xbox being a bit coy and saying, we're not doing this, and then we are doing this. That's people are saying. So, and it's the Hades thing is a weird one for me because obviously we all know graphic designers and stuff like that, and graphic designers tend not to just slap a game in that's not supposed to be in there.
I'm like that, right? I don't want to get too crazy, but it felt like it's just this weird mistake, But continue. I'm keeping hope.
No, well, that's it for me. If it's too kind of obvious of a mistake. There's no way that I don't see an Xbox or Microsoft graphic designer going, I'm doing some stuff for multiplat here. So he's got that kind of Hades asset for a reason, or she. Why put it in? And is it one of those where the screenshot was just in the wrong place and there's a bit of a shit moment, and then someone has to come out and say, no, it's not us. And so I don't know. Hopefully, I think the Ascent has been mentioned and stuff. Scorn was something I think I spoke about on here, on another episode of this, where it was kind of like this weird, mysterious PC game that was announced a while ago. It was in alpha and stuff, and then for that to be picked up. So I think there's some exciting stuff to see. But yeah, I just like the energy that kind of indies have. They just have this kind of non-stop, plow through, try stuff energy. So it's going to be an exciting event. It's going to be kind of games. It's just going to be a video punches after punch in it, and hopefully we see some amazing gems in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Bright Memory Infinite as well. Like,
yes.
As much as Bright Memory, just the standard Bright Memory had its flaws and it was only 40 minutes long or something like that, it was still a really cool game to play through and definitely had its difficulties.
Mm-hmm. lot of potential though. A lot of potential.
Yeah, for one guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Preach.
I'm really looking forward to seeing more of that as well. But there's a whole host of games that could be in there, and of course, like Chris mentioned, and I've kind of been trying to bang the drum for all the time. Without independent developers, without indies, you don't have the gaming sector we have today. So to see an event that has primarily over 100 games shown off and 30 of them gameplay demos, that's going to be an absolutely awesome show. We might or might not see Song of Iron on Friday.
I was about to say that'd be good to see.
It should be on it. It should be on it.
I would hope.
Yeah, he deserves it. So.
Oh yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll have Joe back soon, so we can have the chat.
Yes. Well, it's probably a good time to mention that. Then we do have Joe back next week.
Oh, next week. There you go.
How convenient.
Yeah, Joe from Song of Iron will be gracing our presidents. No coincidence at all.
No coincidence at all.
No coincidence.
Now that game looks good, brother. I'm excited. I want to see more of it. Hopefully, it gets showcased soon because the potential there is good. I know my brother Dutch the Viking. This screams to you. It screams to me. It's a very visually pleasing game, and ever since I've seen you sit downs with you prior, it got my excitement up. But like Lord CJ said, I'm excited, man. Like he said, there's something about that energy, that original creative energy from the indie dev scene, that the taking of the risk, the breaking, genres and without a big publisher behind them, you get to see a little bit more creativity. And I'm excited, man. Like when you talk about all these games and just sit back and, just watch and see what these devs have come up with, it's pretty cool. But yeah, man, big exciting time. I'm really hyped for actually Friday. So.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Shom, Pat, even what game are you looking forward to? Is there any independent games that you're kind of looking forward to seeing on Friday? Or
Bright Memory is the game I'm looking for, because the first few seconds when I saw it on the event, I was like, "What the heck?
What the hell is that?"
Yeah, is this a new Titanfall or something?
Thank you. With the wall running on the side of the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm really excited for it. I'm watching a trailer right now on my phone. So
have you played the prologue game that released kind of for about £6-7?
Yeah, they got money. They got money.
Yeah.
No.
You haven't played that yet? I'll have to hook you up.
No.
I'll send you a copy after the video.
Bright Memory was kind of it almost ruined the conference that it was first shown at, because it was the reveal of the Xbox Series X game, and it was like, holy crap! And then everything else came out. They were like, oh,
yeah,
right. Okay.
Some people got it confused and thought that was the same game, and they don't realize that this is the prologue game when it came out. A lot of people thought that was Infinite, and it's not. But yeah, good point, Shomberlon.
Yeah, and also second extension, of course. Yeah. Because that game brings me back to the time when I played Turok, like on the Nintendo, what was it, 64 or something?
64.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that game as well. Shooting some dinosaurs.
The fact, but is that 3-player or 4-player co-op?
Yeah, I think it's co-op.
I think 4-player co-op.
4-player co-op. Yeah.
It's like a Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope they show something like that Back 4 Blood, because is that indie?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Actually, that is classed as an indie because it's not by the same studio anymore, is it? Yeah,
no, it's Turtle Rocks, but I don't know whether they're owned by anyone anymore.
I don't believe they are.
I think they were owned by Steam at one point, or maybe I'm thinking wrong. Can you imagine that on Game Pass day one?
Ooh, nice. Left 4 Dead vibes, man. That's a huge job. I love that game.
Yeah.
As soon as I seen that, because it has been a minute since we've had a Left 4 Dead. As soon as I seen that Back 4 Blood, I was like, I'm not even gonna. And I didn't even play the beta. I was like, I don't need to. Like, I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait.
Warner Brothers are the publisher.
Awesome. Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers Interactive are the publisher.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
That could be an
Chris,
idea.
Xbox buys Warner Brothers.
That's the big smash.
Someone will bloody quote me on Twitter. I want to take it out of context. That was just a joke.
Yeah, it's just I love indies for the, like you say, the energy that they bring. It's a whole nother level, and it really then pushes out the narrative again, because if the indies are performing, the indies are pushing boundaries, then the AAAs need to step up as well. And you've seen from some of these Chinese developers, Wukong and Bright Memory.
What's the other one? There's another one that was shown, wasn't there?
Yes,
there's 3 recently that have shown: Bright Memory, Wukong, and there's another one.
Yes, I know what you're talking about with the chick doing Wukong or Wing Chun or something. If that's the same game you're talking about, I did see a third one that looked really impressive.
Yeah, but they're just pushing out boundaries like left, right, and center. And if that's what indie developers are able to do with current technology, never mind next gen technology, then AAAs have to sort of okay, we need to push the boat out.
Well, indies there's kind of like they're tarnished for some reason. I don't know why, because whenever you say indie, the first thing people seem to think of is it's a $5 or $10 game that you complete in an hour and a half and you're one and done. For some reason, there's a lot of sun. It's like, oh well, indie this, indie that. I mean, PlayStation got slated at the beginning of PS4 with the indie station, but they had some cracking games on it. They had some really good games on it. I mean, they weren't your big blockbusters, but they were good games.
Yeah, absolutely.
It like stems back to like old school gaming, isn't it? Where like an indie was like a £2 game or something, or it was given away as like a demo or something like that, and it's
your official Xbox Mag demo disc with a couple of indie games on as well. But it's like go on, Chris. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's mad, isn't it? Because I could start a studio tomorrow with 40 people. I'd be an indie, but with just 40 talented devs. People just seem to think it's like 1 or 2 people on the road, and it is. Like Thomas with Falconeer and stuff like that. You get some like great games where it's just like one man or one woman bands, but your indie is if you're kind of independent from someone, so you could have 40 or 50 people working there. You're still an indie studio doing your own thing, not being kind of paid for or pushed to the direction by someone. So I think Shom's right. It's unfortunate, isn't it, that people just kind of visualize this person sat in a bedroom just like making a game, and I've got I haven't got any artists to make good graphics or anything. That's just the way it is, and it's not. There's just far more on offer. It's amazing.
You mean like Jez and his Rand's game? His Randall?
I mean,
game.
Jez is finest indie developer going at the minute with his games.
One of my most anticipated games that was recently announced is an indie game, and I know Cog, you're going to love this one, the Turtles game.
Oh, brother!
I cannot wait for that.
I love that team. I got a chance to interview that team, Dutemo, all those guys, Guard Crush. They've got the nostalgia and a love letter to those classic, 80s and 90s arcade games, and they hit it out the park with that Turtles, man. That's my childhood. That's me, 4-player at the arcade, the one where you throw them to the screen, and what I'm saying, like, oh man, they look like they're gonna be on fire. I'm looking forward to see what they got cooking again with that, because the initial trailer looked phenomenal, man. I think they're gonna do well, just like how they did with Streets of Rage 4.
Streets of Rage, yeah, definitely.
They knocked it out the park for sure.
That's it. It wasn't just a kind of okay, we'll just take the branding and we'll make our game. It was an ode to, to 1, 2, and 3. Homage would probably be better. And they were amazing. They're really, really good. I kind of secretly hope Final Fight is the next one on their list. It's like I was saying in a previous podcast. Is here for me anyway. I never really had the same kind of arcade culture that you guys have. Whenever I think of like arcade culture, I think of New York, I think of what I've seen in the movies, things like that. For me, it was going to like a seaside town, like the nearest one to me, Chris will know, Blackpool. And that was it. But my city didn't have a big arcade like that. But with stuff like Final Fight, there used to be an arcade on the ferry between Dover and Calais in France, and I can still smell the engine while playing. Whenever I think of Final Fight, just the smell of the engine, because me and my brother used to just play that for the hour-and-a-half journey, whatever it was, all the way through.
Nice. Yeah,
so yeah, I've got good things.
One of the games I'd love to see brought back is Warriors. I absolutely loved that game.
I remember that.
Warriors.
Warriors, yeah.
After the film.
Yes.
I don't think I played that game actually.
Oh, I played it.
It was just like wasn't it just like a Street of Rage type game?
Yeah.
Like
Beat 'em up. With the different
characters. 3D Streets of Rage.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember
absolutely awesome, and that used to be the scene that sticks in my memory, and is that pier scene. Do you know when you just get to the end of the pier and they just keep coming forever? You just got to decide whether or not you want to actually. We're going to progress, and we're going to try and run away from this because they're not stopping.
That's not it. Oh yeah, classic. To the movie. They really paid a lot of attention to the details of that movie. That's a classic film too.
I only know it because my stepdad was I wouldn't say obsessed, but he always used to talk about it because over here it was like the first film ever to be given like a 21 rating rather than an 18 because of the violence and stuff. Apparently, I should probably watch it. I really should probably watch it.
Oh yeah, it's a classic.
Oh yeah, 100%. You'd absolutely love it. Such a good film, and again, the game was so much fun as well. So many hours on that game, it's unbelievable.
Old school 70s New York, baby. It was wild. Game culture. It was crazy. Everybody had the wild suits.
The bottles in his hand as well, clinking away.
Oh yeah. And the train, just for accuracy, the New York City train system did look like that. It's very menacing back then. Like, it was. You did not want to be riding those trains at night. Like, the 70s was rough, man. Like, it's very accurate. It's actually pretty accurate for a lot of things.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And again, it's that's why they had things like, especially going before that, Gangs of New York and everything like that. Like some of, again, the takes out. You did have gangs and sections and different things, and of course, it doesn't. You still have that today, but not to the extent it was back in the 70s and before that.
You can ride the subway today without
yes, you can ride it. Yes.
You can go to work on the subway quite
that is true.
Don't worry which section you're from. Oh god. But what we're going to do now, I'm going to ask Cognito a little quick question here, because he is all over Destiny.
Yes.
We know that he loves getting on the Destiny action. He has a show based specifically for that, the last word. But we want to ask you, what is the latest Destiny news then this week? What are they bringing to the game? I know there's kind of more coming to it very shortly. So if you let people know kind of what is coming to Destiny 2, and what else is kind of you're looking forward to for that game?
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. They're in a good space narratively for the first time. Like, they've been knocking it out of the park. So what's been happening is every Tuesday at Reset, there's this main activity that they're doing, Battlegrounds. You actually log in and you really, thank you, Tamara. Much appreciated. Oh, that means a lot. Thank you. Means a lot. Like, they've been doing really phenomenal with this story. It's almost like tune in next week to see what's going to happen with all the major characters. And what they're doing is they're doing a lot of voice acting and stuff like that. As far as the future concerned, obviously we do know that the main content, I believe, was Witch Queen, which is supposed to come out in the fall. That has now been pushed back. They need more time to do that. But from what I'm hearing, next season, the iconic Vault of Glass is coming back in a reimagined way, so they're bringing that classic D1. That's going to bring a whole lot of nostalgia. They said they're going to keep the essence of it, but they're going to add some new things because obviously the D2 power is a bit strong. If we played with the D2 characters in D1, we'd like destroy that raid in seconds. So you got that. And then look out for this year. This is the year for crossplay. They made the announcement. So a lot of my PC brothers, PlayStation brothers, who we have cross save, we can go from platform, but cross play is this year. So look, future is still bright. They're doing well ever since they've been in Game Pass. I've even got Rand out there to play Destiny, and I've been running him through the storyline. We just finished Forsaken. We finished Shadowkeep. He's got to do his first Destiny 2 raid, so we'll probably maybe do that Friday and get that going. But yeah, it's in a good place now. I know the hardcore right now. It's Destiny's in this weird place where the casual gamers are loving it. They're playing it at their own pace. They're loving the season content and the model. The hardcore guys are just like running through all the content, and they want a lot more to do. And it's just like, hey, bro, like there's other games and stuff to play because they're actually doing well right now. The last final point I'll say is, they just opened up this publishing arm in Amsterdam. The team feels good. They're making another IP. I believe it's Matter is the code name. Bungie's in a good place right now, so as far as Destiny right now, hit me up, guys interested. Obviously, last word we always talk about Destiny, but as far as Destiny content, they're in a very good place, especially narratively.
Yes. Is there anything then on that note, because you're a huge Destiny fan, anything going to take your attention away from Destiny in that round? Yes. Outriders.
Yes. I must admit, I was a bit hard on them at first.
Yeah.
I didn't know what space they were trying to fill. They seem to be not in a large. They seem to be more in a Borderlands space as opposed to what you call a Destiny space. But the thing about, I have to admit, like once I played Pyromancer first. I didn't like it too much, but then I played Techno, and I really got into it. And then let's be honest, Shomberlon, yes, you're a Techno guy too. Okay,
I've maxed them all out,
bro. I had a ball with that character. So the last thing I will say is, I gotta admit, man. Game Pass edition is going to be tremendous. That is huge because I know a lot of people like myself. I was on the fence. I was like, I like it, but I don't know if I'm spending 60 and I have Destiny already consuming my life in the space. But now it's almost for free. It feels like they're giving it to me. So now the mental thing is going to drop a lot of barriers to get people in the ecosystem. And I believe that game also is cross play already. Like Square Enix is giving that game a good chance to succeed. Unlike Marvel in the beginning, I think maybe that they learned their lesson there with Avengers. But I'm excited, man. That style of game in a Game Pass service with an active user base. I've seen what it done for Destiny and Beyond Light. I think Outriders might be in a good place to take some time away. And yes, I will be playing Dutch. I'm in. So, yes.
It shows you how exciting, doesn't it, for all the naysayers? It shows you how kind of exciting and important hit the ground running with a massive user base it is for these third parties now. So
absolutely. They know. We had Thomas Seller on from the Falconeer, and he said it was the equivalent to him, and he's not a big game. He's a very niche game, of course. But he said even to him, it was when he went into Game Pass, it was essentially as like having a small city play a game like one day, and all of a sudden just city just jumps over and starts playing your game out of nowhere. So I can only imagine for bigger developers like Outriders, as soon as it goes into Game Pass, it's like woof, just everything on it, like millions of players, like straight away. We've seen what the likes. I mean, everyone doubted Sea of Thieves, and they're crossing 20 million players.
I was so wrong about that game. I'll be the first to admit. I'll let you go, Patrick. I just want to say, I'm like, oh, who is it for? I mean, I got it. It was fun, but to see the legs on it, and to see the iterations and the continuing improve, and that base is rabid. Like that showed me the power of Game Pass. I was like, wow, that thing take. I'm sorry, Patrick, you were about to say something.
Well, for sure, like Dutch says, the day that Outriders comes, like millions of people are gonna play it, and definitely the server's gonna crash, or you're gonna have lobby games, like the beginning with PUBG. Man, something like that, maybe it will be better, but for sure you got some crash games or something. So
it's just I'm looking forward to it. Again, I didn't play much of the beta, on the fact that I really don't like a lot of the times jumping into things that not only aren't finished, but I don't like trying something before I've pre-ordered it. It's a bit of a strange backwards. A lot of people say, no, try it before you do it.
No, King is the same way as you. Yep, King is the same way as you. Believe that.
No, I don't want to spoil it for myself. Yep, this is saved, and much like me and Archimedes, we both had it pre-ordered. So as soon as I said it's going into Game Pass, we're like, oh,
cancel.
Yeah. No.
Hey, Dutch, by the way, just came through. I'm installing it right now. Bright Memory. Awesome, man. Thank you. Looking forward to it. So
enjoy it. It is a really cool game. And again, it's hack and slash, shooting, jumping, lassoing, kicking. There's so many kind of technical aspects behind that game. It's so cool. When you start to get in the flow of it as well, it's awesome, but it can be a pain in the arse as well. So, absolutely awesome. Any final words? Any final expectations for Friday before we wrap things up for today?
no,
Not from me.
No, I think we've covered a lot. I mean, it's when they say they've got 100 games.
Yeah.
I'm guessing I'm only really setting my own expectation is that it's not going to be 100 games of gameplay. I think a lot of them may be in like sizzle reels and stuff like that.
30 gameplay and 100 showing off. So you're going to essentially 170 trailers or 70 kind of announcements and trailers and things like that. But 30 have gameplay.
I want some announcements. That's all as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not announcements, but release dates.
Release dates.
Yes.
Release dates, Second Extinction and Bright Memory and Crossfire, like you mentioned. Remedy are a self-containing. Gunk.
I forgot about Gunk. Yeah.
That looks quite funny to be fair.
It does actually look pretty cool.
Cool.
But yeah, you're right. Definitely need release dates of some of these titles that have already been shown. And I think we will get them, to be honest. I think we will 100% get them. I think you'll also see a few demos coming out off the back of it. And some will, I think the pre-order page will start to fill up pretty rapidly as well on after Friday. Saturday, I said Friday onwards, you'll start to see a lot going into the pre-order section as well.
I'm hoping maybe with the Outriders demo, more publishers or more devs will start to give demos
a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be. I mean, again, a lot of us are a little bit, as Ains say, seasoned.
Yes.
And I grew up on demos. I grew up on trying something out, like I mentioned before, demo discs with official Xbox magazine, things like that. Giving it a try. So I'd like to see more demos.
I would love it too. I just feel sadly with social media, everyone's an armchair developer, I think, and I think it puts them in a tough spot because if there's any imperfections or any flaws, you get dragged on social media, and I think the power of it is, if people have a misconception about something and they keep talking and running around, I think it's really made devs gun shy. Like, but now when I see a demo, I'm actually impressed because I'm like, wow, that dev has supreme confidence.
Because,
people are gonna take this thing, nitpick it down to everyone's their own digital foundry in their house. You know what I'm saying? About how something's supposed to look and whatever. But it's a tough thing. But I agree with you. I do miss it. I was impressed that Outriders had that. That to me said, okay, they're confident about what they're willing to put out there. And I think honestly, maybe as a result of it, I don't have any concrete proof, but as a result of it, maybe Microsoft is looking at engagement, and seeing how many people are flocking to the game, and maybe it may be Square Enix as well. So it could be a joint thing where they're really seeing how beneficial them putting this game, a third party game, day and date. It's a huge deal. So yeah, man, I think that's a positive sign of a demo doing maybe good things, and getting more goodwill their way before release.
Yeah, it could be like with Sony. You can tell when Sony are completely confident with their game because they give the review copies out like weeks in advance. And if they're kind of like, well, we don't know, it's just like, here you go, the review release day before you can do your review.
Well, that's why again, if you're going all the way back as well, just to even the release of the consoles, like. Xbox, everybody for Xbox, they give them consoles like weeks early. Like everybody had the consoles weeks early. PlayStation, on the other hand, were just like like a week before at the most. Some of them got them like 2, 3, 4 days before it released. It was like that's not a lot of time to do some in-depth testing of that console.
Good point.
Yeah, it's telltale sign, isn't it? And I think it feels like this kind of Outriders the Game Pass was like a longer thing. I think we found out kind of late in the kind of deal, but it feels like that was a longer relationship with Xbox because you had the kind of inside. It was on Insiders, so I had kind of like the pre-alpha or the alpha version, which was a bit of a mess, and then it kind of like improved itself. And then the demo came along, and then for it to land on Game Pass, I think from the insiders to demo to Game Pass, it sounds like
the great thing I've seen in the Outriders demo specifically is that they didn't just sit on it as a demo; they also updated the demo. They patched the demo to make sure the demo was working properly.
Yes,
they put server time in there. That's the first time I've seen a demo where they've actually we've patched it, we've improved it, frame rate's better, blah blah blah.
The demo could have been used as a negotiation tool as well.
Oh yeah,
depending on who it favoured.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those as well, isn't it? Where as a dev, especially with a game like that, you want to stress test your servers, you want to. So there's all that kind of stuff. So if they were confident that they were going to hit, a good chunk of gamers on Game Pass, they were going to hit a good chunk of gamers on, on PlayStation or whatnot. But I think the kind of like insiders version was probably like the setup, get ready into the Xbox ecosystem, then the demo, then. Oh, guess what? There's a Game Pass drop. Boom. And in we go. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the demo. I like the idea that the different types of character kind of complemented each other really well. So I think I was playing as the techno, the pyro, the techno guy.
Technomancer.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so I was trying to think what it was.
One with the time bubble.
Yeah. No, that's the trickster is the time bubble. The one kind of.
Sorry, yeah. Okay. So I was playing as like the trickster, and then a mate of mine was playing more in kind of like an artillery style. So he was like bombarding the enemies from afar, and then I was using the kind of like teleportation. Behind the enemy,
it's really cool.
When it all comes together, well, it works really nicely. And it's obviously like a series of like arenas, isn't it? You like move into the next area, then you have your fight in the next area, and so on. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and it's, as Dutch has said, as all you guys have said, it's now a no-brainer. Day one, bang, download. I mean, so, and if I'm enjoying that, if I'm bought into the ecosystem of the game, when that leaves Game Pass, I'm buying it. So they've got a user, they've got someone buying it, it's just
that's a thing. Time. What you mentioned there as well, a lot of people forget about Game Pass is that they're not saying you can't buy these games. If anything, they're giving you an incentive to buy them because they're discounted.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only are you getting the game, you're getting the game cheaper than what it was. So if it ever does fall out of Game Pass, just before it does, you get the heads up and you can purchase it cheaper than you would if you bought it outright.
I can't remember who I heard say it, but I kind of agree with them. That they said that it wouldn't surprise me if the exclusivity deal ends just before DLC drops.
Yeah.
Makes it. I can see that. I can see it.
Yeah, there's always kind of like a reason or like a a marketing play or what. This is why I think, and obviously it's not been a topic. This is why I genuinely think like Uplay will come to Game Pass because.
Completely agree.
Ubisoft can make so much money from loot boxes, from characters, from skins, all of these other things. So they've already got like Rainbow Six free. All these games are kind of free because you can buy all these elements. And I don't think we're going to see brand new kind of UB games drop on Game Pass. And there may be the odd one if they've got like a bit of a deal or something. But Ubisoft have got this back catalogue then that they can go right.
Huge.
So you kind of tens of millions of people are going to jump on this, and what that's going to do, it's going to rekindle people playing old Assassin's Creed games. It's got old Rainbow Six games, and then those people are going to go, "Oh, I need to buy that gear, and I need to buy that skin, and I need to buy." It just makes absolute sense, and especially the kind of bit of a Stadia meltdown. I'm not saying Stadia is dead. It's obviously
it's dead.
It's dead.
Tier 5's just gone on to Stadia. So
they've had their last rights read. It's done.
Sadly, as much as I like him, it's kind of anything that Phil Harrison touches.
Why would you hire him?
Poor Phil.
He is inevitable.
What was he like? He was like dropping all his like stones into his glove, just like over the years, and then he was just like, "Ooh, Stadia," and then he went over. But it's one of those, isn't it, where that's kind of like gone. So Ubisoft can go. We don't need to worry too much about that kind of deal, and it makes sense to kind of look elsewhere. And I know Ubisoft as a company are always kind of look at. I think the Guillemot family are always looking to sell. I think they're one of these businesses that are always up for sale, but they carry on investing and stuff. So I'm not saying Xbox is going to buy them, but it could just be, instead of us trying to sell, actually let's put our service, Ubisoft Plus on to, whatever, and let's start to tap into them and be on all of these devices and stuff. So they're obviously up for it. The fact that they did a deal with Stadia. So I think it's
they've got a close relationship with Microsoft as well. Even like tomorrow starts the Watch Dogs Legion free play period.
Yes.
And that's quite long. It's not like a weekend. It says weekend, but it starts tomorrow till Sunday or Monday. I could binge that in that day and get it done.
Yeah.
That time.
Smart man. Yeah, I agree with Lord Chris, man. I think that it's the Ubisoft thing makes absolute sense. I see it in the same structure and nature of the EA Play deal with a Game Pass Ultimate tier to put it in there. Their ecosystem fits perfectly. They have the live service games. They have the single player games with microtransactions. They have it could really rejuvenate a lot of their titles. I will see maybe some situations where, not all. I think for the most, it won't be day and date for the new stuff, but I think if they could have some deals for some exceptions and things like that. But I literally think it makes perfect sense. We're hearing the rumblings consistently, possibly the fall or something like that later on in the year. But I think it makes sense for both parties, and that bolsters Xbox Game Pass tremendously. You're talking about EA and Ubisoft. I mean, you're talking a lot of value, right there. And I think it'd be beneficial for all parties involved. Yeah, so I can totally see it.
Yeah, and it's like I think was it ACG last Sunday who kind of alluded to the fact that somebody may leak the actually how much devs make from Game Pass. They're not living on chips.
I guess it's not as bad as for gaming as some people.
Exactly. Yeah,
Twitter loves to count people's financials. I see Dutch fighting with them about subscriptions, and it's just funny to me because again, big companies are in the business of making money. Yeah. If this stuff is not financially viable, there's no way they're doing it. Nope. So it's just funny how people like to concern troll about how that we shouldn't be invested into this and we need to buy our games and that's helping the developers. And they have no idea on how the business is run and how this thing is helping developers. So it's just noise. I leave it to Dutch. I see him fighting the good fight. I just mute the comment and I just roll my eyes and I keep moving. Yep. Dutch is in the mix. He's shutting them down with the fact.
But look how quickly they ditched Mixer.
Well, yeah.
And how much they paid for that, and they were like, "No, it's not working. Do one."
Yeah, see you later. Yeah, there's just too many armchair Elon Musks. Isn't it, on Twitter?
Thank you. Yes.
They're just like, cryptocurrency is rubbish, and then Elon Musk is like, buy a Tesla for some Bitcoin. Let's go for it. And it's all kind of like a $1 trillion company doesn't know how to kind of like make money or make these decisions. It's just like, what are you playing at? And then you've got this kind of like army of people now who've got this like copy and paste.
Yes.
Don't buy Game Pass. Don't buy Game. It's like, why?
Oh my god.
Again, that's alluding to the thing that I said before. They're all saying the death of physical, but it isn't. How is it going to be the death of physical? Digital gaming might be the death of physical, but at the same time, there's still physical copies. And not all indie games can afford to print physical. That's what you've got to understand. Independent games can't. There's a lot of money goes into printing and distribution of physical games. So AAA games, yes. Independent games, unless they've got a really big publisher who are willing to fund that cost. Again, independent games aren't going physical.
To say Game Pass is the cause of that. You're right, Dutch. It's like digital is the cause. Certainly in the UK, like digital was the reason why Game closed down, and then it got bailed out by someone else. Digital's the reason why Blockbuster, disappeared, and we don't need to rent movies anymore or rent games and stuff. And actually, for me, like Blockbuster was the kind of, it was the first Game Pass, because you could go to Blockbuster and go, I want to rent that game, I'm going to try it, I'll take it back.
The excitement on a Friday night going with your mum and dad to Blockbuster to either watch a film or get a game, was just like, so many here.
Too.
Yeah, and then the people in Blockbuster will be like, "Oh, it's okay, we've got like 20 copies of that." And you go in, and they're like, "All gone,
all gone."
Like,
It's out this week. Yeah.
And the brother's going, what's behind this curtain? No.
It's so true.
18+ section.
Patch is like, what? They rented normal things.
Salute, man. So true.
It's been absolutely awesome show today, everybody. Much love to the awesome chat. Again, peaking at 75 consecutive people in the chat, which was absolutely awesome. It's been wild. Again, it's also, I loved it, and Mojo pointed this out earlier, but everybody in the chat's been absolutely awesome with each other. There's been no infighting, no bickering, no console wars. It's just been good fun. Very positive chat, and I would obviously love to keep it that way. So thank you again to everybody for coming in, tuning in. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you support these guys down below as well, the Iron Lords, and obviously CJ Granell. Before we get to the outros, you're welcome. Before we get to the outros, I want to say, of course, tomorrow we have a video dropping for Patcher. He's doing an unboxing of a Nikon Pro compact controller, which is going up. So we've got an unboxing for Patcher there on the channel tomorrow. Available for patrons now. If you haven't already seen it, you can go and watch it. Secondly, on Friday, myself, Sofar, and Shomberlon are doing a live reaction to the Idea Xbox stream.
Maybe I'm also there, so I'll let you know.
And Patchy may also be joining, but so we're going to be doing a live reaction to that. So that'll be absolutely awesome. Again, Indies is the foundation of why we love gaming so much in the first place. So definitely go out and support your independent games, because sometimes they can overshadow a lot of them AAAs and really show them how it's done. We will be trying to pin down a date to get Cognito on Know Your Creator.
Oh, cool.
It's happening. So we'll get himself on there and, of course, get to know the history of Cognito on a gaming sense and a creator sense. So it'll be absolutely awesome. But starting with our guests, Cognito, if you'd like to let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got coming up over the next week or so.
Yeah, man, before we do all that, man, fantastic panel. Love the show, Dutch, man. Love what you guys are doing. Love the positive energy, educating people as well. Great show. Obviously, Shomberlon, Archie, Pacha, and of course, Lord CJ. Always a pleasure to podcast with you. Love getting your experience from a developer standpoint, getting different perspectives as well. Chat was amazing. So salute to you guys for having me. This was a lot of fun for sure. For me, you already know, at Lord Cognito on Twitter. Actually, this Friday we'll be doing the last word as well with Destiny. We might do also a live stream too, because I'm very excited about these indies, about listening to see what's going on. So we got that, and of course on Sundays.
If you don't end up doing one, you're welcome to join in with us.
Absolutely, yeah. And likewise, the invitation for all you guys as well. If anything happens, we love doing things with the community and just watching, announcements and reveals and stuff like that. So yeah, if it falls through, I'll be pulling up. For that kind of thing. But yeah, man. And then every Sunday, the Lord's Day, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll have some guests locked in. I'm trying to finalize some stuff, some big surprises in the next 2 months. Ooh. Please tune in. Very big surprises.
Bigger than Jason Ronald, yeah?
I don't know if he did that big. That was a highlight. But salute to him. And then Lord CJ, you've been working behind the scenes, and hopefully
we have indeed, yes.
Yep, we'll get that locked in, and then I still got to get the rest of the mix up going. You know what I'm saying? Shomberlon, Pacha, and stuff like that as well. But yeah, man, keep up the good work, brother. Keep pushing. Love the Midweek Mix-Up. Love what you guys are doing. I'm always going to try to support as best I can. Positive creators, not about the nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And learning stuff. We all learned some stuff today. The chat was amazing, man. Keep up the good work, brother.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. Thank you. No, appreciate the kind words. Appreciate it. Chris, if you let people know as well what you've got going on and what you're up to. Of course, that was a nice surprise hearing you're working with Cog there on something. So
a little bubble in the background.
We're working.
No, as always, mate. I love coming on the show. I think the panel's great. Obviously, sharing the floor with the Lords is always awesome, and obviously everyone in the chat are cool. There's no kind of infighting and stuff, which is awesome to see. Obviously, I'm on Twitter, CJ Granell, as always, just kind of dropping some truth bombs, having a chat with people on there. I think luckily I've got, a good connection, a good group of following. I'm following some great people. So I think the conversation tends to be good on there. I've managed to kind of mute and get rid of, all of the kind of negative or low frequency people on Twitter. Get rid of them. keep your day happy. So yeah, at the moment I'm just kind of working away. Obviously, continuing to grow the business and working from home and stuff. But I've been clearing a bit of backlog in the gaming. So I kind of completed, what remains of Edith Finch, which I thought was just like an awesome game. So I wanted to play for some time, so I got round to that. I cleared the story mode on Squadrons, Star Wars Squadrons. So really enjoyed that. I think I put it in Twitter, but if anyone has not played
how long did it take to complete? Because I wanted to play through that, but it was just a case of I always kind of situate them by hours it takes to complete the campaign. I'm like, if this is 8 hours, brilliant. I'll just play through that.
Yeah, I think I kind of like fell foul. So I started playing Prey, and I was kind of playing through Prey and stuff, and then I was kind of like, I want to just get rid of like Squadrons, and I thought Squadrons story mode was quite short, but I think it ended up being like 14 missions or something. So I think it's a good, if you were to kind of blast through it, it's probably a good 6 to 8 hours maybe or whatever, but
awesome.
Depends on how many times if you fail on a mission and stuff like that. I'd highly recommend in the controls switching the default to Southpaw and invert the flight controls, and then
so
you
up is down and down is up, or
yeah. So a bit like in an aircraft, but also
I'll just go flight sim controls.
Yeah, like switching to Southpaw as well. I think what they've done is they've tried to make it feel like an FPS, but kind of like backwards, where you're moving your gun around and stuff, with like your right stick, which doesn't really work. So when you switch to Southpaw, you control your craft with like the left stick, a bit more like a natural FPS, and then obviously you've got like accelerate on the right and stuff like that. But it feels much more natural when you play. So really good game. Looks fantastic on Series X. Looks phenomenal. And if you've got, obviously, well, we know you've got a Dutch, but if you've got one of the glorious,
my God,
the glorious headset,
I'm jealous.
There's a setting in the audio for like binaural, so you can put like binaural where your headphones, and so it's got like 5.1 and stuff. But the binaural stuff's awesome. You just hear like ships around you and lasers in the background and stuff. So really good. So yeah, I smashed through that. I was playing some finished kind of Vermintide 2 in the end with like a mate of mine. So looking forward to the new one on that. And then just got through 100% of the couple of games. Like Donut County and a few of those kind of like.
That's really
quite a cool game in the end. I ended up having fun with that one.
A couple of those things, and then just a nice set of games, and then I'm going to jump back on Prey.
Nice.
So kind of like undervalued as a game, that, and especially with the FPS boost, and just an awesome game. So I'm managing to squeeze some gaming in, but obviously we can always do more. I've dropped. I haven't had enough time to play Destiny 2 as much as I want to.
You're falling off. I've seen you.
Yeah, I know. I'd absolutely, be more than willing to jump in with the Lord Cognito and venture into some missions and stuff.
So, brother, whatever you are, I'm down, man. I'm sherpering people all the time. You know what I mean? So let me know whatever you need. We do raids, we do strikes. If it's just about getting your light level up, we do it all, man. But trust me, I know how it is. I will say this: the times when I put Destiny, I have a rule. If I can't launch Destiny first if I want to get things done with my other game. So the rule is, like, I'm playing Outer Worlds, I'm doing all this other stuff now, the new DLC, and a couple other games I got finished. But if I launch Destiny first, it's over because everyone sees me and goes, so trust me, I know you're being productive as a gamer right now. I'm playing when you're ready to come back, you just let me know.
I will do, man. But, thanks, Dutch, and obviously always a pleasure to sit on a panel with Shom and Patch as well, and so great to be here.
Awesome stuff. No problem, brother. And again, much like the Lords, you're welcome back anytime. It's a pleasure to have you. Awesome. And then we get to our regular panel again. So, Shomberlon, if you let people know where they can find you, brother, and what you've got going on.
Before I start, I see your message, Pong. You're still barred from competitions, no matter how nice you are. You know?
Pong is bad. What happened?
He won everything. He kept winning. So
even one of them spinners that just kept landing on him just every time.
And he kept winning everything. Damn. That's why Pong is in here right now.
You can find me on Shomberlon on Twitter. I'm usually more of a lurker than a fighter like Dutch. Although I was getting on with some guy who made out that Destruction All Stars was never $70. So I was just like, you know what? And he kept moving the goalposts. So I just stopped replying in the end because it's just like there's no point. It's like a feedback loop. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over again. I couldn't be bothered. But normally I'm just lurking on there. You can add me on Xbox for the same name. I'm up for mainly co-op. I don't tend to really like PvP much anymore. I'm more PvE. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. My reflexes are slowing down. But yeah, if you send me a message or anything, yeah, I'll get back to you, and we could probably do some co-op somewhere. Especially with all these like Back for Blood and those kind of games. I love them.
Like that.
Yeah, I love that kind of game.
Second Extinction, I'm going to be playing the hell out of that.
That's what I was thinking of. Second Extinction. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, can't wait. Yeah, awesome stuff. And last but not least, Patcha, if you let people know what you've got going on, brother, and where they can find you.
Well, right now I'm sitting ready to try some Bright.
I'm ready.
It's in the menu right now, so I'm ready for it. But yeah, people can find me on Twitter with the name _ between the name and the numbers. You can add me on Xbox with this name. And I'll also be streaming soon. Been hooked on a little bit of Sea of Thieves lately.
Yes, you have. The Pirate Legend journey.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a binge, that, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. But the game it's I don't know. I've been playing it now for a month, and yeah, man, they improved really, really good. So I'm looking forward to season 2. So
yes,
and of course,
it's just mad how much they keep expanding that game as well. There's so much more to do these days, isn't there?
Yeah. They did, and they just keep adding things like stories, new kind of quests, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And first of all, also I want to thank Cognito, King David, and also Chris for joining the podcast tonight. It's a pretty awesome show.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to play some PUBG with you guys.
Yeah, feel free. I'll download it again, but I missed that game. I need a chicken dinner. Let's go. Let's go hit me up. I used to really love PUBG. I just stopped playing, and I haven't played since the improvements or whatever. But yeah, hit me up, man. I want to get in there, man. I miss it.
Today, I think this weekend I played after. I didn't play for 2 months, and my first game I got 14 kills. So.
Oh, I'm with you. Let's go.
So yeah, thank you guys again, and yeah, don't miss the video, guys. Tomorrow, let's drop the unboxing. So
yeah, live premiere tomorrow for Shom's unboxing. So definitely jump in on that if you haven't already seen it. For Patreons, of course, you can watch it now. Everybody else, tomorrow night at 7:00 UK, 8 PM Central European, and that makes it again 3:00. For Eastern Daytime, which I have to get used to saying now.
Until our clocks go forward on Sunday, and then we'll be 5 hours.
That's the Eastern Standard. It'll be back, Then it's going to be like, okay, so what time are you? How are we organising this again?
Good old
fun. But again, a massive thank you to everybody in the chat for coming along tonight. Absolutely awesome show. Thank you very much. If you haven't already, make sure you follow everybody that's been on the panel tonight, and make sure the links are there after the show. Please make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. You'll be notified when we go live. But thanks again to everybody. Hope you have an awesome evening, and we'll see you again later.
See you guys.
See you later.
Thank you.